Wow, the party's already getting started. Hi, Maddie. Hi, Whoopi. Hi, Care. How's everybody doing on this lovely and very chilly, Saturday evening? Kea, chameleon. Yeah, it is freezy, frosty, chilly, cold. I apologize if you guys hear something in the background. I have a heater, like, right beside my feet because even with the heat on in my house, it's still really cold. So, space heaters to the rescue. But I hope you guys have been staying warm if it's been snowy where you are. It doesn't snow very often where I live, but it's pretty blanketed outside. Tired. Did you have to work today, Care? I saw you were streaming earlier. I apologize for not stopping by, but I slept most of today. Wait, no, not item. I need to get my sound slash. Yo! Maddie in here streaking when it's this cold out. But thank you, Maddie, for 30 streams in a row. That is wild. Oh my gosh. I mean, I know you're kind of like my best friend, so like you're usually here for all my streams. But, you know, you don't need to feel obligated to be. So the fact that you're pretty much always here is just so awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, just kinda. I'm sorry, it's that old bad habit of mine of putting, like, dampeners when I say anything with any kind of certainty because I'm so used to so many people I grew up around constantly fighting me if I said anything with any kind of, like, finality. Yes, you are my bestest friend, thank you, Maddie, I love you. EKH1, awesome, Care, that rules. Actually, weird fun me fact, I've never actually beaten Kingdom Hearts 1. Like, I know what the ending is and everything, but I've never actually finished the game. Welcome, bestest, biggest fan and bestest friend. Oh, thank you so much. Also, Care, please resist the temptation to jump into Kingdom Hearts 2, especially if you've never finished Chain of Memories before, because a lot of Kingdom Hearts 2, especially the intro, makes a lot more sense if you actually play Chain of Memories. What I would suggest, though, is, instead of using the collection, I would suggest getting, like, MGBA and playing the GBA version of Chain of Memories. Already in KH2, well... looks like summer vacation's over. I've seen every- yeah, but it's not the same because Chain of Memories gameplay is peak and awesome and kicks ass and it's amazing. Like, I will never understand what it is about Chain of Memories that people have so much trouble with. The gameplay system's fun, it gives you tons of customization, and it's a really clever way to adapt Kingdom Hearts, like, real-time combat to GBA. Oh, yeah, Chain of Memories was actually my first ever Kingdom Hearts game, fun fact. I think I mentioned it on your stream once, but I don't know if you saw, because, like, a few other people are in chat and stuff. But, Chain of Memories, like, I didn't have a PS2 when the first Kingdom Hearts came out, and I really wanted the game. So, I was super excited when there was a GBA game, because at the time, like, I still had a PlayStation 1, and because you have to keep in mind, PlayStation 1 games were still coming out until, like, 2003, 2004. And, like, this is gonna sound weird coming from me, but from, like, maybe 2001 to, like, 2005-ish, I actually wasn't... Okay, prior to, like, the PS2 and Xbox and everything, I was, like, super game crazy as a kid. Like, just manically in love with video games. But from, like, about 2000, 2001 to, like, maybe probably 2005, I really wasn't super into games. I didn't really keep up with stuff very much. So I had a GameCube and a GBA, but I didn't really bother getting a PS2 or an Xbox or anything. Because, like, I really didn't play much of anything in that time frame aside from Sonic and Pokemon and just stuff I already owned that was in my backlog. Or stuff that I already owned and replayed a bazillion times, like Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff like that. It's weird, okay, as crazy as I am for Final Fantasy, you'd think I'd be one of those people who'd, like, getting every game the moment they came out, but, like, I'm not sure what it was, but I kind of bounced off 8 a little bit, because I had already played 6 and 7, lol, and, Tactics and stuff like that, and I had the, PS1, like, Final Fantasy Anthology. I don't know why I'm saying had, it's literally on the shelf right beside me. Yeah, I got Final Fantasy Anthology, which had 5 and 6, and, like, I really liked those, and I loved 7, but weirdly enough, I just kind of bounced off 8, and I didn't even really look into 9 at all, which is ironic, because, you know, as someone who liked the Super Nintendo ones, I would have, you know, absolutely loved 9 at the time. And with 10, it just looked like more of 8, so I just wasn't really into it. Like, I love all those games now, don't get me wrong. But it's just like stupid kid logic. I will be playing DBS after KH2, and yes, Final Fantasy is so good, especially Tactics. Dude, like, if anybody's even marginally interested in Tactics, and I'm saying this as someone who's played over 1,000 hours of the PlayStation 1 original, just go buy the new Evil East Chronicles, because it comes with a relocalized version of the original PS1 game. It's on every platform, and, like, the new version added so many quality of life features, fixed all kinds of, like, weird bugs and shit, but it's still the same game at its core. Because one thing I really disliked with the PSP... Oh yeah, the voice acting is so really good. It is super good. One thing I really disliked with the PSP version is that none of the original creators were involved in it, and they made a bunch of weird gameplay changes and stuff that I feel like... I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics is not a balanced game, quotation marks, but, hoo boy, the PSP version, like, made it a miserable slog to unlock jobs and stuff. But again, saying this is somebody with nostalgia for the PS1 version, who's played over 1,000 hours of it, Evil East Chronicles is absolutely the better version of the game. It's not very intensive, so it can probably run on a potato PC, and it runs great on Switch, because Switch is the version I got. So easy to farm and break the game, but that's part of the game. I mean, like, Final Fantasy Tactics' late game is notorious for being difficult, but it's only really that difficult because the game expects you to put in the effort to break it. Ooh, I actually have a really fun story with Final Fantasy Tactics. A specific thing. And, okay. So, when I got Final Fantasy Tactics, I also got the Prima strategy guide that came alongside it. It was a really, really good, strategy guide. But, or rather, the content of the strategy guide and the layout and everything were really well done. But the actual, like, not necessarily the print quality of the pages, but Prima guides in the late 90s had, like, really bad glue, and they would just fall apart.
And I got so upset as a kid that my Prima strategy guide for tactics kept falling apart and pages kept falling out, and I kept trying to keep the pages in there. And my mom took one of her binders, like, it was a big, like, one of the ones like the big 3-inch rings, and she bought, like, 350 packs, because I think it was like 107, 110 pages, so 250 packs wouldn't have done it. So she bought 350 packs of the, like, long sleeves. They're kind of like trading card sleeves, but they're for, like, full sheets of paper. And me and her sleeved the entire strategy guide and put it together in order in that binder, which, aside from moving it to a newer binder when the other one started to show some wear and tear, I still have it completely sleeved up. And I do reference it every now and then, and it's so funny because my mom started calling it the sacred text, or like the sacred parchment. And she was super thrilled because I got Final Fantasy Tactics on the PlayStation 3 digital store probably in like 2015 or 16. I didn't see the point to buy it originally, but I kind of wanted to play it on PSP. But I didn't like the PSP version very much. So I got that version, and I wanted it on Vita as well, so I just have it anywhere. And I remember I was playing it a little bit, and I pulled the strategy guide out, and my mom's like, with like excitement in voice, like, "You still have that? The one that I put in the binder for you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Yes, one version you could get stuck on hard bosses entirely if you saved in the wrong place. I mean, I have the PSP version. Now that it's not the last version ever made, I'm not as irritated by it. It's okay, but I'd rather play, like, I would take the PS1 version over it, and I would take Ivalice Chronicles every day of the week. It's such a fantastically done. Like I said, more remakes and remasters should just include the original. Hi, Cole. How are you doing today on this lovely, snowy Saturday evening? Here with some cozy Johto vibes, chillin' and vibin'. You see, the thing is, like, I want to play Final Fantasy in order. I've mentioned this before on stream, but I don't think you were here, Kara. But, like, I started with 5 because even though I eventually plan to go back and play 1 through 4, I feel like 5 is the most pivotal game for understanding all the games after it. Because I'll admit, like, 6 is the one I started with, and I was pretty tempted to jump into 6 myself. But I feel like understanding Final Fantasy V is pivotal for understanding a lot of stuff in Tactics and the later games afterward. And I also feel like understanding Final Fantasy 7 through 10 is really important for understanding Kingdom Hearts. First Final Fantasy game was 10. That's a good starting point. 10 is fantastic. 10 has, like... Thing is, like, okay, I've mentioned this before on stream also, but I'm generally not a person who gets pissed off at fictional characters. Like, I might not like the things they do, or might not like the writing decisions, but even characters most people find annoying, I tend to find pretty endearing. But Final Fantasy X, so many of those characters make me want to punch them in the face. Which I don't think was the intent when it was writing it, but I think a lot of that just comes from personal experience. But that doesn't matter, because Final Fantasy X still has a fantastic story, and it has one of my favorite battle systems in any game in the universe. Maddie, don't even make that joke. You were never annoying for 1 second in your entire life, baby. There's 4 on the PSP. Ooh, the PSP remake of 4 is really good. I'm not a super huge fan of all the art direction choices, but it's still a great way to play Final Fantasy IV. And Final Fantasy IV is also a fantastic introduction to the franchise. 1 through 3 are really good, but in some ways they almost feel like they're from a completely different series, considering how much the series pivots at 4, and I feel like 4 really defines the rest of the series' identity. It's kind of like... Okay, for me, Final Fantasy 1 through 3 are like Persona 1 and 2. They're excellent games, but they don't even feel like they're the same series as their sequels a lot of the time. It's neither lies nor slander. Though there are a few exceptions. Generally, the writer behind Danganronpa, and also the writer behind 999 are two of the only writers that write characters that I absolutely cannot stand with every fiber of my being. I feel like with Danganronpa it's probably intentional, but that doesn't make it any more enjoyable. Granted, I don't ever want to really play those games. I've just experienced copious amounts of the series secondhand through my bestest friend. Because I actually, put a good 2 or 3 hours into the demo for 100 Line when they dropped the demo on Switch. I actually really liked the main character, and I was super into what they were setting up in the beginning, and as soon as they went to the classroom full of people, I was just like, the tactical gameplay is really good. Stay focused and try not to punch these people. 9's probably my favorite. That's super... 9's amazing. 9 is fantastic. The only reason I don't really tell people to start with 9 is I feel like having the context of, 4 and 5 and 6 makes 9 even more enjoyable, because you can kind of get the little links and nods that they're referencing.
Well, I mean, once again, that's also valid, because I think 8 is really fun in a lot of ways, but the junction system is one of those things where it's it just doesn't gel with some people's brains. Hi, Rain! How are you doing today on this chilly Saturday afternoon? Always hold 4 to my heart because I love Cecil's story of growing and being better, plus I enjoy Moon. That wizard came from the moon. Yeah, 4 really does have a really good story. My thing is, I didn't play 4 until long after playing, 5, 6, 7, some of 8, 9. So... The thing is, I had already seen a lot of it done. So, it didn't strike me, but I could see starting it with your first Final Fantasy, especially if your other games are mostly, platformers and stuff. I could totally see it just, being whoa. Night care, have a good rest, nap rest time. My ass kicked in Deadlocked. You know, I don't even know what kind of game Deadlocked is. I'm not being sarcastic, is it a shooter? Is it a... action game? Is it multiplayer? I'm guessing it's multiplayer. A hero shooter MOBA. That would explain why I haven't really had any interest. No offense. Viper. Greaves. I mean, I've seen a couple character designs for it, but I feel like it's the kind of thing where I would probably enjoy it if it was, a third-person action game or something. I'm interested in ladders as opposed to shooters. Maddie, that joke was too good.
And it's true, because technically most of the games I play do involve level ups, so... I guess you could say I chose the latter. Also, when I finally get an on-screen model, you know how Kubi has the throwables? I am absolutely gonna give you guys a redeem where you can throw tomatoes at me. Hiya, it's Uncle Ralph. I've been spending more time with my Goldeen than I have with my kids. It's a bit sad, actually. I just beat a wild Rattata. I told my kid, but he scoffed at me and said he could do the same thing easily. Boy, has he gotten cocky. Call your mom sometimes, too. Tomatoes go well with cheese, which also goes well with bread. Oh shit, now I want a pizza. Okay guys, stream's over. I'm gonna go order a pizza. At 8 o'clock at night when everything around me is covered in snow. That's how we get Cheetos. They'll never not be covered in tomato juice. I like them real thick and juicy. My tomatoes, I mean. Good stream night. I actually do have some pizza sauce and some mozzarella cheese in the fridge, so after stream I'll probably make some pizza bagels. Also, I am sitting on 20% of my chair because one cat is somehow taking up the entire rest of it. Have it any time? Wow. Wow. You know, it's so funny with the elemental punches being special attacks in the first 3 generations. Is, you know, you have like these Pokemon like Drowsy or Alakazam just walking up and fucking cold cocking their opponents. Criminal has done nothing wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. I was too late. I did not take the opportunity to get my chair while I could. But then again, there's a rule when you have a cat. If they're on the chair and you take the chair from them, you're the chair now. Simply show business. Yeah, it ain't no charity case. My duck chair and chair are like right next to my bed, so my cats typically just use that if I'm occupying the chair. Well, okay, there's like this fold-out desk behind my chair, and okay, originally I put Mom's record player on top of the desk because it's like it has like a whole flat thing on the top. But I put Mom's record players and some of her old records were warped. I say old records. Fun fact, this is not an old record player. Mom bought this in like 2021. And her records are like the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack and the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 soundtrack. Okay, Mom. I turned around and looked at them. But no, they had warped a little bit, but my mom always told me that you can crush a warped record back to its regular shape if you put something heavy on it. So I had like a bunch of heavy books piled on the records, and it worked. But for some reason, I woke up one day, and the cat was sitting on the records, and mysteriously all those heavy books were on the floor by the desk. It must have been some kind of mysterious advent that happened while I was sleeping. So now she likes to sit on top of Mom's record player. I got lots of video game vinyls. I want to start collecting video game vinyls, but I'm gonna have to like redo my house and make room because I don't actually have any shelf records will fit on right now. I was so sad that I was broke as a joke when they did the Xenogears vinyl a while ago. Whoa, spooky. It's gonna be the first time you're streaming in your birthday month. Anything special planned? I don't know. I haven't really spent too much time thinking about it. a part of me wanted to play, well, part of me was hoping I would finish Final Fantasy V by February, and I was gonna start Final Fantasy VI on my birthday. But I don't think I'm finishing Final Fantasy V in 2 weeks. Unless we, like, really hit that grind. Which I kinda don't want to rush it either. Didn't have the money for Tunic Final when it was up for pre-order and they didn't sold out. Yeah, that's the problems with video game vinyls. If you don't get them the second they're available, goodbye. Because, like, they had, this has been, like, over probably 5 or 6 years ago now. Maybe more. But they had a Breath of Fire 3 vinyl. It was a limited release. It only had, like, a handful of tracks. It was just a single vinyl. But, I mean, dude, Breath of Fire 3's soundtrack is amazing. And it's also one of my favorite games. I don't know if it's been done, but I really want a vinyl that has, like, some 8-bit music. Something about an analog media having music made from a digital-only device on it. It just seems really cool to me. You know, like, release the Pokemon Crystal vinyls. What's Pocky's HP? 6, 7. I wonder if I want to train over here in the Weepin' Bell zone. Oh yeah, I don't think I mentioned it, but about a month before I got the AverMedia capture card, I actually upgraded my NSO to, like the, expansion pack. So I have, like, a bunch of GBA games and N64 stuff I can just play directly from my Switch.
And since streaming Switch is no problem now, that'll be a lot of fun. Mini doors open. I actually don't remember what level Drowsy evolves. Let me take a look. Feels like an early one. I mean, you can get them pretty low level in Red and Blue, because a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon, since you couldn't breed or anything, their evolution levels were scaled for when you find them in the game. Headbutt. It's 26, we're almost there. Not D&D in a bit, but Bedwarm. Bedwarm is the nemesis of doing anything. Gonna lose the chocolate. I guess it's inevitable end for a Pocky. Also, Maddie, you're my new #1 clipper. This just in, warm, cozy person has to get out of bed and do things. Heartbreaking. I'm devastated. Clipping. Clipping's my passion.
See, even though Pocky loses the chocolate dip, he'll gain a coconut-flavored scarf. Local fox loses bed. I don't like coconut dough. Really? Well, I guess I'm gonna have to eat every single one of these Mounds bars. Nom, 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 nom. Pause. How dare you, first of all? You never call me, you when you say you will, but I need you still. Pocky have a friend named Rocky? Yeah, he's an Onyx. Plunger looking ass. Plunger? I don't even know her. Waka waka waka. No, that's Final Fantasy X. We're not there yet. I somehow keep having progressively less chair. Progression and progression. Our secret plan is based on this shape. It's a small world. It's a small universe. Remember, we used to sing along to this song. Remember now what she says, we are the universe. Wahi wa hajimari hajimiri wa owari. I wish there was a decent way to stream The World Ends With You. It's one of my favorite games, but if you don't actually play it on an actual DS, you're just not getting the experience. You're losing the Splatoon match. It's true, I'm getting sprayed with white ink from every direction. This is the worst. Go, Pocky, go! Evolved into Hypno! Need to cover more area. Okay, let's go ahead and give Pocky a Purrs Cure Berry. For that Purrs. Pocky got a little trinket. He just found a coin on the ground. More Pokemon need little trinkets. You know, little trinkets were kind of a thing in Gen 1. There's like Farfetch'd. It's funny how many people bitch when Pokemon have clothing or are inanimate objects or something like that, and they're always Gen 1ers, and it's like, literally that stuff was all over Gen 1. What are you talking about? Macho got that belt. Gonna head to D&D. Bye, Cole. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out a little while. Enjoy your dungeon and your dragon. If you don't have fun, we'll know, so you better. We'll send the criminal your way. Well, that's not gonna have any effect on him. He'll just have a cute kitty to pet and snuggle. That's not a punishment. She'll force the fun to happen. Have fun or else. Oh, sweet, a cute bed buddy. We talked about making a criminal emote before. Yeah. Okay, I need to go ahead and put Pocky in. We do need one, for sure. You know, I was thinking of doing a Mott's emote similar to, Kubipa's Lurk, but that might have to be the one for Dot, because I realized that with the freaking hair, the Ahoge thing, I'm pretty sure it would still take up more than the entire emote space. Even with the head halfway cut off, like the face halfway out of frame. Okay, I think I got Arbok already. Do I have Ursaring? I don't think so. Rhyhorn, Rhydon. Oh, I think that's Chansey. Look like the Alolan Executor emotes. Let's see, Porygon, it's Omanyte, Omastar, Kabuto. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, which we ain't getting right now. That's you don't even see a Mareep. I love Donphan's design. Me too. Donphan's amazing. Like, legit favorite for me. Ooh, the Slowking, I love you. I wish I could get a Slowking. No Girafarig in this game either. Donphan's design, Donphan, D&D. It's all coming together. I mean, you know Donphan's good because, it got 2, like, time-space forms. Okay, I do not have Ursaring. Miss Drevis' design is amazing. Miss Magius' design is also amazing. Because that's one of the things, like, I've mentioned before, I'm not super fond of a lot of the Sinnoh evolutions of Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon, but I love Miss Magius. It's the perfect evolution to Misdreavus. It's one of those ones like Tangrowth that feels like it just should have always been there. I will say, even though I like, I like Honchkrow in a vacuum, but it's just not the idea I would have had for a Murkrow evolution, because Murkrow's got, like, the witchy hat, and I was always kind of secretly hopeful that, like, I guess they did the witch thing with Miss Magius, but I was kind of hoping they'd do something like that with Murkrow, too. Especially since they're changed to being, like, version counterparts in Diamond and Pearl. Like a version. I guess around here would work okay? No, there's a lot of Nidorans. I can't really sludge those. Still got the funky hat, just not witchy anymore, I guess. I mean, it's interesting though, because Murkrow's kind of had its own trajectory, at least when it comes to competitive. Considering that Murkrow gets Prankster. So like... Oh, I think it's the only thing, it's like both Prankster and Quash. So it had a pretty good competitive niche for like a year or so on one of the formats. Maggie's got more witchy and Honchkrow got less witchy. Guys, I am so uncomfortable, like... I am dangling on the ass edge of this chair, but she is so cute and so comfy. Honchkrow and Magius tipping hats to each other. No, it's like, Carablast and, Shelmet, where, like, they just, instead of switching armor, they switch hats. So funny that a lot of evolutions ended up making their previous forms more competitively viable. Looks at Porygon too. I do find it really fun and kind of interesting that, with Scyther has the same base stat total. Scissor, I'm so sorry. Has the same base stat total, just rearranged. And then when Kleavor came out in Legends Arceus, it was also the same base stat total rearranged. It also, like, really irritates me. I love Scyther. It has one of the coolest designs. It's one of the best cards for, like, Gen 1 base jungle fossil format. But it is borderline unusable in red, blue, and yellow. Which sucks because its yellow version sprite is raw as hell. I mean, actually, its red and blue sprite's pretty damn raw, too. But it literally only exists to score critical hits with Slash and does nothing else. I tell you something you might not want to hear as a cat owner, even though your cat's super comfy, you have to end up still having to move them. I know. But the thing is, if I move her, she's instead going to be tackling me and forcing me down on the chair to get me into the exact position to be her comfortable new bed. So, like... Part of this is me not wanting to move her because she's cute. Part of me is placating the incoming storm of bread making. I am the storm that is approaching. The biscuit tax. If I was just sitting here vibing on the couch playing it by myself, probably, but it's hard to speak into the mic when I'm being pushed backward. Man, I wish I was talking about something else. Give me a sec. Okay, I picked up and moved the kitty and put her on my lap. Figured out a way to get the white tips. Awesome. Standard Maddie genius moment. I kind of put the microphone like halfway off to the side on my chair. And I'm actually leaning back. Now that I'm actually leaning back, she's not trying to like jump on me or do anything. She's just sitting there calmly. As you see, I have this really soft robe that I'm generally not a fan of wearing robes or dresses. Like, I don't like single unit flappy things. But this robe's really warm and soft, so I'm using it kind of as a blanket over my legs because of how chilly it is. But it also kind of acts as a biscuit shield for the murder knives. Hey. I'm not using the table, I just kind of set my microphone over on the couch. Which is like right beside my chair that I work at. I'm wearing some kind of robe, so I don't like dresses or skirts. I think I could vibe with skirts. I like the atmosphere of them. I've never really gotten the chance to wear one like in public, but I do like the freedom of movement with my legs. It's just single unit things like dresses, robes, kimono always feel like super restrictive to me. Like, I do not like the movement of my upper body influencing the movement of my lower body. Also, I don't think it gets enough appreciation because, you know, obviously with everything now, everything's shared, usually either emulated or through a phone screen. But, how good the dithering on these sprites actually look on a Game Boy Color. Dithering is kind of one of those things that got lost a little bit. Not because people forgot how to do it or anything. It's just not really a thing you need to do since pretty much every screen you're going to be making a game for is digital. Don't mind me, just gonna find your address and mail you some estrogen. It'll be really fun explaining to everyone at work why I'm suddenly stopped growing hair in a lot of places and I'm like an inch and a half shorter and have just giant fucking bazongas. Like, yeah, sorry guys, I've just been gaining a little weight. You know, for some people it goes to the hips, for me, well, you know. I'm kidding, if that were legal, yes, absolutely, please, oh my god. Though it is funny to me that, like, you have to do more in-depth psych evaluations to get hormones than you do to buy, like, a firearm. Legal schmeagle.
Mutts, good evening. It's me, Gavin. How you doing? Let's battle. Be waiting on Route 26. Give me a shout out when you're close. Haha. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Kind of insane, yeah. Let's go fight old Gavin.
me, I'm Gavin, you know, like, it's an ironic name considering that I'm very, very straight. I mean, I've never once thought about how amazing it must be to have a man's big, strong arms hold you at night and have him reassure you that he loves you just the way you are. I'd never want anything like that. That's crazy, because I'm straight.
Sounds true and normal. It's one of those things that I've always enjoyed. It's like, that's normal. Every guy thinks about being a girl. And I'm like, haha, sure, buddy, you keep telling yourself that. Either you find a place that'll just give you hormones outright and it still takes time, even those places in the earliest appointment's like 8 months out. I mean, even so, like, you'd be waiting those 8 months without it either way, so... You know, it's wait 8 months or just don't have it. I'm not being sarcastic, I'm just like, it's weird because, like, there's so many things where the wait for something felt excruciating when I was younger, but looking back, it was just, like, a comparatively short amount of time. Weirdly enough, this may sound strange, but that's kind of why I stopped worrying about pre-ordering video games as much. Unless it's one where I feel like the physical release will end up being like $900 in the future. Is it the classic, like, how often do you think about being a girl? You know, the normal amount. The normal amount is 0. Fuck. Like I said, I think I've mentioned this on stream before, but I still remember this one interview with somebody. I think they were like a celebrity or something, and this was in like, I think the 60s or 70s. And they were pretty old at this point. They were like probably in their 60s or like late 70s or whatever, or late 60s, early 70s. And you know, somehow it came up in the conversation, I don't remember how. They're like, oh, you know, I'm sure every boy always wonders what it was like, you know, to you know, kind of think about the other side, what it was like to be a lady. And the interview's like, no, they don't. And he's like, and like his response was just, well, damn it. Like, that was it. Just like, well, damn it. And I always do think about people like that, because, like, contrary to popular belief, being transgender was not invented in 2018 when Celeste came out. Yo, what? I was shocked, too. It was actually invented in 2010, or 2008, when Fallout New Vegas came out. It's just one of those key trans girl things, you know, Celeste, Fallout New Vegas, owning a Nintendo Switch, subscribing to Some Call Me Johnny on YouTube. That's just one of those really fucking funny things, because, like, Johnny doesn't particularly make content that's LGBT adjacent or anything. Like, he's definitely an ally, and he's a cool as hell person, but it's just so funny that just so many trans women seem to follow him on YouTube specifically and reference, like, his videos and stuff. Which also I followed Some Call Me Johnny. Yeah, he rolls, but it's still funny to me. Because I was actually thinking about something today, like, on that note, because I think the real reason that a lot of Alpha Red and Frost Prime have a very large portion of the community being trans as well. I know Alpha Red did. I've never actually heard of Frost Prime. But okay, I was actually thinking about something, because, like, okay, my actual theory with Some Call Me Johnny and Alpha Rad is that a lot of trans people tend to really like Sonic the Hedgehog and or Nintendo. And Alpha Rad's very heavy on the Nintendo. Some Call Me Johnny basically went from being obscure to being considered like a major YouTube legacy, like, creator, specifically through his Sonic videos. And his really good Sonic animations. But I actually had this whole thing I was thinking about earlier today, and, you know, generally a lot of neurodivergent people tend to be drawn to Sonic the Hedgehog. And I was thinking about other things that a lot of neurodivergent people tend to be drawn to when it comes to media. Sonic the Hedgehog is definitely one of them. And I feel like Marvel or DC Comics is another. A lot of Japanese RPGs, especially Xenoblade. Even though a lot of this media isn't particularly queer adjacent, even if it's story, fighting games is another one. And that's another one on the thing here. And I'm like, why these things specifically? And part of it is just that a lot of these are very vast and very crunchy, so there's a lot to chew on. If you want to hyperfixate, you've got a whole rabbit hole to go down, but I don't think that's the only thing. I think that a lot of neurodivergent people enjoy media that is not what I call, I have coined the term unitonal. Not monotone. It's completely different from monotone. Unitonal, to me, is when a piece of media or a work of fiction generally sits on one specific tone, whether that's sad, ominous, funny, silly, and that's generally the entire tone it's going for, like, consistently throughout. Like, you know, not being unitonal or being unitonal is merely a choice. It is not specifically good or bad. But I think that a lot of neurodivergent people get bored with unitonal works because they feel like they're only saying or expressing one singular thing. But with something like Sonic is an amazing example, and I think part of the reason it holds up is, to so many people and for so long, is because Sonic and Sonic media, whether it's the cartoons, comics, video games, everything, with Sonic, and Dragon Ball is another good one with this too, is the tone and the expression and the emotional range can be anything. You can get Sonic stories that are tragic, heartbreaking. You can get some that are hilarious and goofy, like Saturday morning cartoons. There's slapstick. There's, you know, like heart-wrenching stuff. There's romance. Like, I feel like a lot of neurodivergent people want a full expression of the lived experience to be a part of the characters they engage with. Xenoblade 2 is another one, and I always wondered, as much as I really love Xenoblade 1 and 3, why 2? Why that one? I don't think it's just the big boobies and the trans allegory cat girl. You know, I actually did think, why Xenoblade 2 specifically? Really, what is it? It's because Xenoblade 2 has a vast range of tonal styles and ways that characters express themselves. Because an old thing I used to say as to, you know, kind of to sum up my feelings toward it, with why I don't really latch on to a lot of things where the tone is always heartbreaking, like 24/7, is if I can't laugh with these characters, how can I cry for them? Yeah, the Sonic Autism and Freedom, that's a good little video. It has, like, that's not exactly the entirety of my, like, thesis statement or conclusion, but it's definitely adjacent to a lot of the stuff expressed in that video. I need to catch up on IDW also. You know, the Metal Virus is, like, so incredibly powerful in the comic that I completely forget there's a whole arc where Metal Overlord just randomly comes back right before that. Like, the Metal Overlord thing gets so overshadowed. Like, honestly, like, one of my favorite character arcs is watching Dr. Starline like completely get reality checked about who Eggman actually is. And then think he can do better and die because of it. Spoilers for Sonic IDW, I'm so sorry. But yeah, like, he seals his own fate by being arrogant. Because, like, he has a... It's actually an interesting allegory for how a lot of people engage with media. Because he has an idea of who he wants Eggman to be. And when Eggman isn't that, he thinks he can do better and fails. Am I dropping frames right now? Oh god. Also, guys, if the stream randomly cuts off and I disappear forever, then you can just assume either I lost power or internet. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, Rain, there's that. Or, like I said, my favorite is the panel where they resolve, like, whatever little conflict they had between the two of them, and they're smiling and holding each other's hands, and the background is colored like a lesbian flag. You know, that's the funniest fucking shit, is, like... IDW Eggman, like, if everything starts falling apart, he's just like, fuck it, and throws hands. I mean, granted, IDW Eggman is just basically canon Eggman. It's just still funny. Because, like, I feel like one of the things that gets lost a little bit, especially with the 2D games, is that, like, Sonic and Co. were, like, 3 feet tallish. You're just good, friend. I know you're joking, Cole, don't worry. Rain, like, there are people out there where they could be like, yo, Tangle and Whisper, now that you two got married, what are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna go have gay lesbian sex with my lesbian wife. And be like, damn, I can't believe they're finally roommates. Gotta love that friendship they have. Speaking of, like, huge W in the fact that, like, in Tomodachi Life, not only is there a non-binary option, but in addition to, like, letting your character be bi, pan, whatever, or just interested in just one gender, there's also an option to just choose to have no romantic interests. So it's like, Arrow Ace homies, what up? That's honestly really cool. Well, Cole, I don't think you would deny it because, I mean, you're in either my stream or Kubi's, so if you can't detect gay and or trans people by now, what are you doing? Oh no, I'm losing frames again. Don't do this to me. I'm too cute to drop frames. Yeah, we pretty much all knew you were just goofing, Cole. It's okay. We do have a little bit of media literacy around here. Where should I grime next? I am very happy with my GameSir controller, but I have this running issue where like I'll buy these nice controllers to use on PC or whatever, and then most of the games I play are just like 2D platformers or like retro turn-based things. Actually, that gets me on a whole freaking rant about like the PS5 and the pretty much every Xbox controller after the 360. Is freaking the PS5's face buttons feel notably worse than the PS4's. And they're also not colored in, which is wrong. The PlayStation buttons are supposed to be colored in. What is wrong with you people? But, and, like, they're not awful or anything. They're just not as comfortable as PS1 or PS4 controller. So, like, all the IDW characters are just so good. I know about Tingle and Whisper a lot, but oh yeah, like, I love Surge and Kit. Lanolin's fantastic. Belle is really good. Like, even the side characters are cool. But, like, with the Xbox series and stuff, because, like, I beat, like, Tales of Grace's F and, Okami HD on my Xbox One using an Xbox Series controller. And once again, the Xbox Series controller, even though it doesn't look that different, is like a massive leap in quality over the regular Xbox One controller. Like I said, it doesn't look like that on the face, but when you're holding them, gosh, the Series controller feels so much better. And the cool thing is, like, the Xbox Series controller is completely compatible with Xbox One and vice versa. Because my mom got me a bright red and white Xbox Series controller as a Christmas gift in, like, 2022, I think? And I've been using that as my main Xbox controller since then. But the thing is, like, my issue is the face buttons. Okay. Enjoy your tea. I know you're coming right back, but no, my issue with the face buttons is that, like, they're clicky and glassy and kind of weirdly rounded. Oh shit, I'm dropping frames again. Why are you doing this to me? Come on, frames, don't do this. I'm not even running any internet with anything else. I have all my game systems off. I'm not looking at anything on my phone. There we go, back in the green. Thank you. Good thing I'm not like a Marvel Rival streamer or something. Even though I personally do feel that Marvel Rivals has like some fantastic, like probably some of the best character designs for most Marvel characters. But then again, a live service game lives and dies by how horny its character designs are. But no, like, that's the whole thing with the Xbox and PlayStation buttons, is like the face buttons are not as good. But on both controllers, the triggers and shoulder buttons are fantastic. And it makes me sad and really irritated because, like, you can tell that was the priority when designing most of these controllers.
Mach, you still awake? It's Anthony the hiker. The other day I was watching my Machop eat some berries. It looked like it was enjoying its meal, so I decided to try some. I'm not sure people should eat that stuff, but it was delicious. Lately, I've been running across wild Zubat quite often. They're easily taken care of. Alrighty then, be good.
I love that they went out of their way to animate a little bow for the Pokemon Center nurses in the Gen 1 and 2 games. Because honestly, there isn't a huge amount of animation for, like, most characters. You know, a lot of times they just have, like, 4 directions of sprite and then, like, a looped walking animation that's usually 2 frames. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, this is a game made for the Game Boy, after all. So the fact that they went through the effort to put the little bow animation just adds so much character and life. Sorry, my brain just stopped for a second there. Mintberry? Mintberry? Did I go get the Mintberry by the Moo Moo Cow, the Moo Moo Meadow area? No, it's not Moo Moo Meadows, that's Mario Kart Mechanic. You know, I always found it interesting that one of the items that a Growlithe can hold is like the Rost Berry that cures burns, which, like, you would, why would you need that? Though I do wonder if that was decided, like, at some point in development in, like, Ruby and Sapphire and stuff, if the berries still had the same names from Johto, because a Growlithe holding a burnt berry makes lore sense. Because, you know, like, it probably tried to cook a berry a little bit to eat it, and then it accidentally burned it. Okay, yeah, I did get it. Okay. Lol. Lol. This is an underrated little area of Johto, I think. I really like the farm here. Moo Moo Farm. Enjoy a fresh and tasty milk. Oh yeah, I should see if I can milk that guy today. Do I have any Moo Moo milks in my inventory? Damn it. It is so annoying that he won't sell you one if you're already holding one. Why would you do it like that? I'm trying to keep your family in business. See, I'm gonna have to train Mellow C to level 40 so I can use him to go Entei hunting. I mean, Mean Look is useless, but he does have Hypnosis and Nightshade, so I can lower Entei's HP by significant chunks. If anybody who wasn't here for it, I actually just threw the Master Ball at Raikou, and Suicune you just get by, like, playing the story, so... Get sludged. Oh, also a really fun thing, because he's sitting over by my PS5 right now. I was like cleaning some stuff out in storage, and I found this old Pikachu thermos. Which, like, it's not a thermos with, like, Pikachu designs on it. It is, like, a full drinking thermos in the shape of, like, a little Pikachu statue. And it was, like, covered in spiderwebs and dust and stuff. And I honestly didn't think I'd be able to get it clean. But I used, like... Well, first I used some, like, tissues to get, like, the bulk of it off and stuff like that. But yeah, I cleaned it in the sink with some dish liquid and some paper towels and stuff, and used like a little toothbrush in some of the more detailed areas. And it looks like it has some like permanent scuffs in a few areas, but other than that, it looks almost new now. I'm actually very happy with it. I always feel like I'm gonna fuck something up when I try to restore things, so the fact that I managed to do it and it just looks pretty darn good made me very happy. I'm not gonna try to drink out of it. I cleaned it on the inside, but I'm still not gonna drink out of it. But, like, I don't think I ever drank out of it before anyway. I bought it because it was a big Pikachu thing, and it was probably on clearance. Clean Vika. It also has, like, a 1998 copyright stamp on the bottom. So that Pikachu's older than you, Maddie. Shit, I'm pretty sure it's older than most of the people in here. Ugh. The passage of time. Ugh. Most things are. I mean... Yeah, I do not want to lane minimize. I'm not cheap. Oh, wait, no, I should have learned it because I wanted to show something off. Fuck, shit, fuck, balls, balls, fuck, balls, shit, damn, darn. Oh well, I'll learn it with another Pokemon later. I mean... Yeah, technically, like, most things are older than a lot of us, like trees and rocks and stuff like that. Turtles. Most turtles are probably older than anybody here. Tea acquired. May she without tea throw the first shade. Is even the turtle you're thinking of. You know, it's kind of funny, because, like, I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but, most adaptations seem to play them more as, like, college-age Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's funny, because a while ago, okay, I had Walmart Plus when I was working from home for those couple months. Teenage Turtle. But I had Walmart Plus, which just comes with free Paramount Plus. So I watched the recent Ninja Turtles movie, the one like directed by I think Seth Rogen, one of the Seths. I don't know if he directed it or if he was like wrote it, creative something. It's like Mutant Mayhem, I think. But I did find I think my favorite thing about the movie was it wrote them like actual teenagers that are learning ninjutsu. And I think one of the funniest things to me is like there was kind of this like a little bit sad moment about them realizing that, oh, you know, they won't ever really be able to go to high school or fit in or have a normal life. And, you know, it's kind of like a serious talk, and they're like, well, good night, guys. Yeah, good night. You know, they all say good night to each other, and they all turn around in their beds and look at their phones. Because, like, with a lot of stuff, because, like, you know, I remember having VHS tapes of the 1987 Ninja Turtles when I was little, like, really little. I think I still have a few of them. And, like, you know, when I was, like, a little bit older, I watched the 2003 series. I've read some of the Eastman and Laird comics. They're really good, but they're very much still comics from the 80s, and they're very angry and dark and stuff like that. But that was the style at the time. But, you know, it's like them being teenage is not something I ever really thought about at any point, aside from maybe Michelangelo. So, like, I remember watching Rise of the TMNT where they were written more like how actual siblings would act. Yeah, I always love when the four of them are written like siblings. I think that adds so much heart to it. You know, I do have the Cowabunga collection. Maybe I should see if I can actually survive the original TMNT NES game. Because I've never beaten it before. Weirdly enough, as much as I loved Ninja Turtles when I was really little, I never had the TMNT NES game until I was like, maybe like 19 or 20. I found it at a thrift store. I love the live action movies, because I had like the first two on VHS, and then I got the third one like a couple years later, but I like all three of them. I quote them a lot. Because my mom watched them all with me. The first one's just like a legitimately fantastic movie. The other two are more like, if you love Ninja Turtles, you're gonna get a lot out of them. I know that the third one's got a bad reputation and people consider it, like, crappy, but I really like the third one. I'd say, like, each one is definitely not as good as the previous, but the first one sets an unbelievably high bar, and 2 and 3 are still great. I think 3 suffers more from budget issues than anything. But I never noticed any of that when I was little. It was a new cool adventure and it had time travel. First one was actually made on a shoestring budget entirely out of love. Yeah, I remember hearing that. I remember watching it for the first time when I was younger and amazed by how cool it looked. I'm still amazed by how cool they look. The puppeteering is still really damn impressive, like, 36 years later. That's right, person born in 1990. You're 36 years old. I see you. No, it seems weird to me either. I feel like someone born in 1990 should definitely be like 25? 27? What the fuck even is the passage of time? See, the thing that I always found fascinating, when I read some of the Eastman and Laird comics for the first time, is how much the movie just took stuff straight out of the comics. Like, stuff like Raphael falling through the roof, like, all of that stuff. The reason the Muppets are still relevant, it's mad that Disney doesn't do more with them. The Muppets will always be relevant. That's the thing, is like, practical effects will always be relevant and never age, because those practical effects are real. You know, you don't have someone reacting to something they have to imagine in their head, or trying to react to a person in a suit that's going to be green screened over later. Because, you know, like, I've always wondered why everything is, like, so much CGI now in live-action movies, to the point where, you know, some movies are just real-life actors standing in front of a green screen for the whole movie. Or a blue screen, it depends on, you know, the insert they're using, you know. You know, like, they're basically standing in front of a green screen for the whole movie with some props or whatever. And the thing is, like, CG animators for movie productions are drastically underpaid and overworked. And apparently there's some weird, like, ruling loophole or something where, like, there's a lot more to it than this. But basically, you can't be a CG animator and be in a union when it comes to, like, effects work for some reason. So basically they can just exploit CG animators and underpay them and undervalue them and all this other stuff. Or effects work animators, I should specify. Everything's CGI, and while the effects are technically more impressive, it loses some of the charm of practical effects and set work. My honest favorite usage is when practical effects, light CG, and set work all get blended so you can never see the illusion. Because ironically, because I know Marvel now is famous for, like I said, just all the characters standing in front of green screens. But, you know, like the early Marvel movies, like the first arcs and everything for the characters, are all just really well done movies. And in Captain America, to get the whole thing, because there's another actor playing, like, scrawny Steve Rogers. But it still has, like, Chris Evans acting and face and everything. But no, it was actually done with a mix of practical effects and CG and some other stuff with, like, you know, like the perspective switching, kind of like they did with Lord of the Rings. So the illusion changes how they're doing it so often that you never track on to how it works, and it's so good. Artists are fucking underpaid. Another reason capitalism must die. Manual Fireball. Call me Kingler the way I'm about to use guillotine. Hell yeah, I'm LGBTQ. I'm so sorry. She got all sleepy and comfy on my lap, and the neurodivergent leg just started bopping. Sorry to wake you up, little baby. I know you're all comfy warm. It's weird looking back because, like, you know, obviously most of us, our parents, didn't have, you know, access to anything mental health related or anything to, like, diagnose anything wrong with them. Because I remember, you know, being a kid and my mom's, like, sitting in a chair reading and her leg just starts hopping back and forth. Just the one leg. Otherwise, she's sitting there completely comfortably. And I'm like, why are you doing that, Mom? And she's just like, my leg just does that sometimes. I'm like, okay. Reminder to bother your animals for no reason. Because I know with my kitty Freya, I'd always be like, why do you put up with me bothering you and irritating you all the time and just like poking you and all that stuff? And then I remember, yeah, this is because that's the same cat who will just step on your face, will just run up and tackle your leg with no provocation. It's like, that's just, you're doing the same thing to each other. Thank you for the lurk, Cole. Enjoy dungeoning your dragon. Got my autism from my mom and ADHD from my dad, thus I'm incapable of functioning. You better enjoy. You find a D&D group. I have a hard time getting into it. I've tried. I mean, a lot of it probably was the people I was playing it with. Also. I mean, hey, trans people should be great at D&D. I've been role-playing as someone I'm not for most of my life. Green has 2 billion characters that it wants to make and can never properly latch onto any of them. I want to get into it, never had the chance to, though. You know, Ariados is such a really cool design. And as for like having the characters in your head, when you, whether it's D&D or for your own stories, whether you either start writing them or start acting them, playing them or whatever, that's when you actually start to touch base with them and latch onto them. Because I know put that Blorbo in a situation is kind of a meme, but that really does help you find out who your characters are. Because like sometimes as a thought experiment, I'll just write little non-canon things for my characters to just see what they are doing in this situation. I play D&D for that reason. Fair. That, and like a big thing I think with a lot of us neurodetergents is like choice paralysis. I think choice paralysis and executive dysfunction tend to go hand in hand a lot of the times. Because I think, like, even though we didn't really have, like I said, Mom didn't really know much of the terminology or the mental health stuff early on, I feel like she could kind of detect the executive dysfunction in herself and could see me doing the same thing a lot of times. Because my mom, you know, if I got, like, too stuck, or, like, I seemed like I was distressed but not doing anything, Mom would be like... We played video games together, so like let's say we were playing like Dark Cloud or something, she'd be like, hey, we should get through that dungeon on Dark Cloud. Or like, hey, we should play some Dark Cloud. Or she'd be like, oh, can you show me how to do this thing? Or can you help me with this real quick? Like, she would do so much to make sure I didn't like fall into what she would call a scroll hole. Which was basically her term for doom scrolling. Because she'd accidentally do it sometimes too. Obviously, my brain's constantly running, thinking of situations to put the floorboards in. A Google Doc is your best friend. Because I made up some characters that lived in my head for a long time that I occasionally just did like a little doodle of here and there that weren't part of any of like my big main stories, and I ended up writing like probably 20 short stories about them. Like, I didn't even ever intend to do that much because like way too much happens in like the first 2 or 3 stories. Just because like I only thought I was gonna write like maybe 4 of them. Or 5 or something. Back in my day, we didn't have autism or ADHD. Yeah, well, Pluto was only discovered in 1930. Pretty sure it was always there. It's like one of those people who tell you, like, nobody was gay back in the day. Yeah, but I mean, there were those 2 girls, like, you know, Esther and Mildred, who both of them lost their husbands in their mid-20s, and, well, they just never found another man, so I guess they just decided to live together. It was actually put there by Big Space. No, it was put there by Disney. It's an advertisement. That's why they named it after the dog. Lupo. You know, Grimer's back sprite is amazing in this game because it's just like you see the one eye with like the dot pupil, it's just like I love Grimer, just such a cute, happy little friendo. Ah? Just say, ah? I mean, I love Grimer's red and blue sprite. Homie is just so ready to start the party. Hands up. Suddenly, we all got our hands up. Yeah, that's called the Genki Dama. Speaking of blurbos, though, characters I've written about, I feel like written all I need for them, but I still want to write more. That's where AU versions come in. We have already written a story for one, though. Cool. I will catch up on the rest of those, Maddie. I promise I didn't forget. Also, one thing I really like about Hoot Hoot's sprite in here is that, like, even though it's something you rarely see in, like, Japanese stuff, you see it a lot in, like, especially older American comics in, like, the 80s and 90s, is, like, shading something that's super dark black with, like, kind of a mid-tone blue. Notably, Dragon Ball did this in, Bio Broly. Okay, I guess since Rain's here, she can appreciate this. I'm gonna stand up for Bio Broly. It's one of my favorite of the 90s movies. Yeah, the sludge thing being the villain, whatever. But dude, there was a whole movie where Goku or Gohan didn't come in and just steal the last quarter of the movie. You know, like, Android 18's the freaking main character. And this is before Super or anything, so she'd barely gotten to do anything in, like, the main story. So, like, Android 18 is the central character. Krillin gets to do cool shit, and they don't turn him into a joke. You know, Goten and Trunks are hilarious. It's me, Dana. Right now I'm on Route 38. If you're close by, let's battle. I'll be waiting for you. See ya! Oh wait, that's right. Route 38's right there by Eckertique. Yeah, I'm not gonna go and say that, like, when I say 90s movies, what I really mean is the Z movies, starting with Dead Zone and ending with, I think Wrath of the Dragon's the last one? I can never remember if Wrath of the Dragon was, I think it was after Fusion Reborn. Yeah, it was after Fusion Reborn, for sure. So I'm pretty sure Wrath of the Dragon's the last one. It's been forever since I've seen Bio Broly, I kind of forgot about it. Okay, Bio Broly watch party, let's go. go ahead and turn off Crystal. I'm gonna go ahead and start the movie right now. I'm sure that the copyright bot's gonna fucking love me watching an unedited anime movie from Toei. I have characters like Lorelei that I want to expand upon, but don't exactly know what she would do. She would give me hugs. Actually, she probably wouldn't canonically. What I'm learning tonight is there's a lot of movies I need to rewatch. Rewatch party. I don't know if you're snowed in like I am, but it's a good time to rewatch movies after my stream. Continue watching my stream, please. Almost was last week. I was last week and I am again today. At least I got a kitty to snuggle and cool people to stream for.
Sonic Boom!
Go around the room, shake it quick, it's
Sonic Boom!
work that body, make sure you don't hurt nobody. Go wild, lose your mind. Shit, I forgot the rest of the song. Well, rip the slam jam, I guess. Winter Storm's pretty much passed me through. I wish it would pass by. I've had enough Winter Storm, thanks. But I think it's not going to be till like Tuesday till this shit goes away. And then I'm going to have like a spitball session on voice chat with you where either just me or the two of us trying to figure out how to give each other story ideas. You're really late. I'm eager to get going. And Dana, with you, I'm always eager to get going. Try attack? Don't mind if I do. I'm pretty new at writing, but it's been really fun, so I keep doing it. I think your writing's generally been really good. Also, I said genuinely has been really good. That came out as generally. But I mean genuinely has been really good. You see, one thing I think goes underrated is how, like, with the gold and silver sprites, especially in Crystal, obviously, is how, like, Sugimori's shading, like with the watercolors, kind of comes out on the model, on the, not models, the sprites. Like, for example, with Starmie, see, it's got, like, a lot of the white highlights, and the white highlights are super prominent with Magneton to make it look shinier. There's that and then the dithering on the bottom. And I think Haunters is fantastic because, like, the mostly black in shadow and then, like, the purple kind of being the highlight color. Plus, like, the red outlines across its hands are just, like, super spooky. It's so good. Been getting a little self-conscious about nothing really happening in what I've written, but I mean, it's an audience of 2, including the writers, so it doesn't need to be award-winning. It's still really good, though. Besides, like, there's a whole genre of stories where things don't quotation mark happen. Slice of life stories are a thing. Slice your life. You already did. You separated the part of my life from 2014 onward into the better half of my life. Because you're in it. And God, this living stuff is exhausting. Well, good. I mean, living would be fine if they didn't keep charging me money to do it. Do not be a ghost. Who's gonna remind me to hydrate? You find a way to charge me money for being dead. Thank you, Rain. Everybody grab your sugar-free, caffeine-free beverage of choice. I got my water tumbler right here. Take a nice big sippy. At some point, you're gonna have to remind yourself. It's been a while since I've drank. Oop, drank something. Take a sippy. I mean, I do remind myself to hydrate. I diet. Do not. We have a strict no dying policy here. Wait, you do? Yes. I mean, technically everybody alive is immortal, and we have no proof otherwise. Supposed to be I did, but said plenty hard to make it come across through text. So theoretically, if somebody broke that policy, what would happen? Well, so far only one person's broken in it, and they're stuffed in an urn on my dresser, so... But people die when they're killed. It reminds me of one, like, time I paused Sonic Adventure 2 right in the middle of, like, Omochao explaining something, and, like, it was, like, on one of the Tails mecha levels. And, like, the thing it ended up being on screen when I paused it was something like, you know... something like you'll be out of health when if your HP reaches 0, and I'm like, I think the full thing is Omochao trying to explain that when you're in the mech suit, you have an HP bar, but you can refill it by collecting rings. But I only caught like the first half of it, so it was really funny. Just like backseating much. See, I was gonna make a joke. It's like, he's like, hey, you know, it's like someone comes in and you're playing a game, like, hey, don't die on this part, and you're like, okay, you're banned for backseating. See, I joke. I want to make that joke, but there are streamers who've actually done shit like that. It's like with, Jude Hexchew. When she, like, first started streaming, she wanted to just, like, raid somebody who was online for fun that wasn't anybody she knew. Like, she'd kind of, like, interacted with them on Twitter a couple times or something. So she decided to raid them, like, oh, this will be fun, let's all go raid. And, like, as soon as the raid came in, the streamer put it on followers-only mode. The chat, I mean, on followers-only mode. And, complained about Hex raiding them. Like, we didn't ask for a raid. It's like... bitch? Excuse me? Like, Hex ended up blocking them, and, like not interacting with him ever again and stuff like that. But it was like Hex literally did not want to raid people for over, like, she did not raid anybody after her streams for over a year after that, because it's just like, unless they were like someone she knew was like a really close friend. Because I don't think she's ever actually raided a stranger since then. Or I say stranger, but you know, like a casual interaction person. Like, no, like, absolutely do not blame her one bit. That was, because I think I was actually there for it, because she brought it up again recently. I think I was actually in the audience, like, with her, because, like, she was, like, really early on in her streaming career. So it was, like, me and, like, maybe, like, 10 other people, 12 other people. And we're like, okay, sure, like, and I think they were, like, also doing art or whatever, which is what, you know, Hex had been doing. And it's just like, what the fuck? Why would you be like that? Like, dude, I get rated by somebody, I'm tickled, even if they're coming in with only one other person.
Because I know there are some bigger streamers that, like, they'll make fun of somebody for rating them with too few viewers. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, if I was watching a streamer, and then somebody rated that streamer with, like, 2 or 5 viewers or something, and then the streamer made fun of the person coming in rating, if I was a random viewer, I would, like, unfollow, revoke my sub, and then, like, block them on every social media platform, because what the hell is wrong with you?
Being rated's a way for people to discover you, that's what it's for, right? I actually have gotten a couple raids from people. It always makes me really happy. Because the really cool and attractive Rainy Days raided me a few streams ago. It's pretty cool.
Damn, I hate when people like what I do. Ugh, right? I'm just trying to keep to myself, and I don't want any attention. That's why I'm putting a video out on this public platform that anyone can interact with.
I'm still so sad that I missed that Pokemon stream, even though it was a short one. I did go watch the whole VOD, though. It was a good VOD. Mount Moon was conquered with the grace and... Debonair? Is Debonair the word? The grace and D-boner. Need to watch it later, too. Yee.
Also, I mentioned this on Kara's stream a couple days ago, but in also cleaning out my storage, I found an old heater, like a tiny space heater, that I thought was either thrown away because it stopped working or was just gone. And it still works, and it is currently plugged up right beside my legs, keeping my legs nice and toasty so I don't have cold cozies while I stream. Found out earlier today that I had my mic set to the wrong track, so all my recorded VODs of my Pokemon streams just don't have me talking. No! Ah! I need to hear pretty girl, pretty voice while I listen to my Pokemons. Yo, my phone randomly buzzed. And I just got a freaking message from my boss at work in the work group chat. The place I work out's closed tomorrow. I have the day off. Let's fucking go. Sleepy girl gets to sleep in. Let's freaking go. Though also that does remind me, snow day, snow day, snow day. That does remind me of something funny. I was talking to my landlord a few days ago before all the snow hit. And I accidentally made a dick joke, and he thankfully like just skimmed right over it and either didn't say anything or didn't notice. But no, he said like, oh, they're saying the snow is gonna be like 7 or 8 inches, and I'm like, oh, so it's actually gonna be like 5.5 inches? And he's like, ah, probably, but you know, it's like you can never trust the weatherman, and I'm like, it's like, oops. Because that's absolutely the kind of joke I would make around, like, you guys or in QB's chat, and it just slipped out. He's also from, like, he's originally from up north, so he's used to driving in snow and stuff like that. I can definitely pass as an unreliable weather joke. Hi, 7th, how are you doing on this, well, very snowy, motherfucker. Snowy Saturday evening. I just got a message from my boss that I'm off work tomorrow, so I'm gonna sit on my ass and play video games. Midna mention, it's like, yes, it is very easy to not be normal about Midna, trust me, she is the best. Honestly, like, top 3 Zelda companions. I have a big fondness for Aslo, but I also have a big fondness for Minish Cap. Actually, you know, this is gonna be like probably catastrophic levels of unpopular opinion here, but I think Minish Cap might have actually overtaken Wind Waker as like my number 2 Zelda game. My number 1's the original version of Link's Awakening. Well, original / DX, because they're basically the same game, aside from one being in color. But yeah, how are you doing today, 7th? I'm trying to stay warm and getting climbed by a cat. Still have Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass sitting on my shelf that I haven't touched. Again, Rain, I absolutely recommend checking out the mod for Phantom Hourglass that lets you use regular button controls. Still need to be a Legend of Zelda game. I recommend Link's Awakening. Okay, I'm not joking. Okay, I'm not joking just because it's my fave. It's not super long. And also, it has a lot of humor and style all its own. Because my thing is, what I've realized is that my favorite Zeldas tend to be the ones that lean more toward RPG game kind of vibes. So, like, yeah, also, Link's Awakening DX is on NSO, so if you have a Switch with online, it's on Game Boy NSO, you can just play Link's Awakening DX right now. Though the remake for Switch is also fantastic. Honestly, the original Link's Awakening is like almost the perfect vertical slice of Zelda. Because I guess I like my Zeldas weird. I also like my Zeldas to not really have Ganondorf involved. Because, like, my top 3 Zeldas, like, Ganondorf and Zelda are both completely absent from Link's Awakening. Ganondorf is nowhere to be found or even mentioned in Minish Cap. And Ganondorf's definitely a major part of Wind Waker, but he's like the least Ganondorf-like out of any game. I don't want to spoil anything, but he definitely has far more dimension in Wind Waker than he does in any of the other games. Though he probably also has a headache in Wind Waker. Teehee. I still haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly, like, Okay, Mom loved Zelda. Specifically, especially the 3D ones. She thought the 2D games were cool, but as I've mentioned before, due to the issue with her cornea in one of her eyes, she had a really hard time focusing on games that were lower than 480 resolution. Especially pixel stuff. So she really didn't get much into gaming until, like, the PS2 and stuff. But we played most of the 3D Zelda games together. I don't remember why we didn't end up finishing Ocarina of Time. Because I had the GameCube, like, bonus disc that had Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and then the 2 NES games. But we finished Twilight Princess, we finished Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild together. We played over 200 hours of Breath of the Wild, and I remember the day that Tears of the Kingdom came out. I was off work, and the McDonald's near me is like a 3-minute walk. It's in the same parking lot as my nearby Walmart. And I remember the day that it came out, because my mom was looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom. And we were over there at McDonald's, like, we'd done some grocery shopping or something, and, you know, we were just, like, getting something to eat before we went home. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, the new Zelda came out today. And Mom's like, that was today? And I'm like, yeah, you know, Tears of the Kingdom. And Mom's like, yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It's the sequel to Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, yeah. And Mom just, like, reaches into her purse while talking, pulls out her debit card, and says, go buy it. Just shoves the debit card in her face, like, go buy it. I'm like, what? The new game, go buy it. I'm like, okay, you know it's 70. It's more than, like, go buy the new game. Just go. It was so funny because she's like, go buy the new Zelda. What are you doing? And it's even funny because she's pushing her debit card in my face. I did go buy it, though. Because we hadn't ordered our food yet. Because a lot of times we just, like, both get a big 30-ounce drink. Because this is back when McDonald's, every size drink was $1. So we would just walk in there and spend the $2 and get 2 drinks before we decided what we wanted to eat. And just sit there and sip on Diet Coke or Diet Dr. Pepper or whatever. But we played it for a while. But Mom ended up wanting to, like, play some more of Tales of Arise, which is another game we had started together. And she actually got really into Xenoblade 3. So we never really got back to Tears of the Kingdom before her health started falling apart. So I'd only played a couple hours, and I have not touched it since. And, like, I want to play through it, especially because, like, okay, in my personal brain categorization, Tears of the Kingdom is another weird Zelda. Because, like, dude, the guy's arm gets chewed off in, like, the opening 20 minutes. You know, so he's basically got somebody else's arm, like... It's weird because I don't actually really like the crafting mechanic that much. Back with banana bread. We love banana bread. Didn't play it until the Switch 2 version. Haven't played too many Zeldas in general. One thing I loved was the entire video game industry trying to figure out how the hell Nintendo programmed all this stuff. But, yeah, like I said, I haven't actually finished a whole lot of Zelda games. Like I said, there are the 3 I finished with Mom, and I finished Link's Awakening DX and Minish Cap. I'm fine with the crafting mechanic. I do not care about the vehicle stuff. Yeah, the vehicle stuff in particular. Really want to play Xenoblade 3, even though I haven't played the first 2. Okay, here's the thing. A lot of people will say, like, to play them in order and stuff like that, which probably is optimal. However, I am very much an advocate of if you think a game looks cool, just go for it. If you played 1 and 2, a lot more stuff in 3 will make sense. And the thing is, like, 1 and 2 connect if you played both of them, but if you play them separately, you'll never... it won't hurt anything. It doesn't change the story. It's just, if you've played one or the other with 1 or 2, playing the one you didn't play, like when you go to the one you hadn't played yet and play through it, you'll be like, oh, I get it. But with 3, it literally directly references stuff from the first 2 games. Like, legitimately, like, I don't want to spoil anything, but, like, it unambiguously pulls stuff straight from the first 2 games and throws it in your face that it's from the previous games. So you may miss some of, like, you know, having this or that character show up on screen that's supposed to make you go, and you'll be just like, who's this? No one's explained them to me. But you can still play 3 if you want to. It'll just mean, like, you'll kind of have reverse engineer it. When you finally play 1 or 2, you'll be like, oh, that's what they were talking about. So I will say, the DLC for 3, Future Redeemed, do not play that if you have not finished 1 and 2, because Future Redeemed spoils the whole series and has characters from all 3 games. And it's not a crossover episode, it's canon. So you can definitely play 3 without playing the first 2, but don't play its DLC without playing the first 2, or you're gonna spoil the first 2 games for yourself. I finished the first one, Link to the Past, Link's Awakening DX, my fave, Ocarina of Time, 3D, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom. It's weird with Wind Waker. It's one of the ones that really kind of got me, they Xeno their blades then and there. Maddie, you're not supposed to spoil it. It's weird that Wind Waker is, one of my, like, pretty much my favorite 3D Zelda. Because I actually haven't finished it. It just left such a positive impression on me playing it for the first time on the GameCube back in, like, 2007-ish? Maybe 2005-ish, somewhere in that range. Because I got super duper serious into game collecting in about 2005. Not too long after I got my PS2, I remember going to a pawn shop, and they had a buy 2 get 1. So for $10 in 2005, I got Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, Kirby's Air Ride, and Shadow the Hedgehog. Good evening, Mots. It's me, Wade. You awake? Bug catching contest is at the National Park today. Are you going, Mots? I'm trying to make up my mind. See you later. And that's when I, like, seriously started wanting to try new games and try new things, because, like, another big thing in 2005 and into 2006 was 2005 is also when I played my first Castlevania game, which was Dawn of Sorrow. So like I said, I'd been aware of Castlevania before, but I had kind of only wanted to play, like, colorful and cartoony things or RPGs. So even though I thought Castlevania looked neat, I thought it was, like, too dark and scary for me to play. I know this sounds really weird, but it's like, at that time, I kind of had this thing in my head that, like, I had to play games that suited my personality that I wanted to project or something. Which, like, that's stupid bullshit. The media you consume doesn't define any aspect of your existence. Because I remember, in 2007, this is actually a really fun story about, like, because Resident Evil 4 was my first Resident Evil game. And in 2007, I was really young, I got, like, my first crappy job, and they had me outside sweeping the parking lot, like, first thing in the morning, and it was cold. And I think I had gotten, like, my first or second paycheck or whatever. And I'm like... At this point, Resident Evil 4 was a greatest hits release for GameCube. And I'm just walking around outside, sweeping this parking lot with a scarf and a coat on, and I'm just like... I don't know if I like Resident Evil 4 or not, it might be too scary, what if I don't like it? And then, like... I remember... I'm like, I just wish something would send me a sign to decide whether or not I should buy the game. And as I said that, I turned around and there's a $20 bill folded up on the ground. And, like, it wasn't like one of those prank 20s, it was a real $20 bill, and I'm like... And, again, it was a greatest hits now, so the MSRP is $19.99, and I'm like... Okay. And that day, after work, I went over to GameStop and bought Resident Evil 4. I miss greatest hits. Like, bro, fucking Mario Odyssey is about to turn 10 and it's still $59.99. The universe knew what it had to do. He was saying, here you go, it's on the house, kid. Also, I found out recently walking from the McDonald's over to Walmart when I was getting something to eat a couple days ago. Apparently the evil $100 bills still exist. Ones that, like, it looks like it's a $100 bill and then you open it and it's, like, got some religious bullshit or something on the inside. Because I found it on the ground and, like, I wasn't even excited. I'm like, oh no. Though I did pick it up and, like, I opened it, it was some stupid religious stuff. Like, once again, there's nothing wrong with being religious. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being religious or having faith in anything at all. What I'm saying is it is wrong to use that to manipulate, hurt, or prank people. And you're not going to get your message across by forcing it down somebody's throat, even if it is something you honestly believe in. But... You know, and the thing is, like, I picked that up, I actually tore it up and threw it in a trash can, just so, like, its evil cannot be done any further. Because for me, that's just something, I saw the prank coming, I rolled my eyes. But for someone else, especially, like, I'm someone who's been at a time, who's had times in my life where $5, $10 could make the difference in whether or not I get to eat that day or not. So there could be somebody who, where $100 on the ground could, like, change their life for the better, at least temporarily. So, for that person, like, the soul-crushing freaking character arc that they would go through seeing that and picking it up and being pranked. Service workers are the last people who deserve to be given fake-out money. Abso-fucking-lutely. Not wrong, the just wrong to try to force it on someone else. But yeah, like, greatest hits were still a thing with PS4 and Xbox One, but Nintendo never had them at any point during the Switch. And, I have not seen any greatest hits PS5 games yet. Though I will say, if PS5 greatest hits have the red case like PS4 greatest hits do with that white banner, that'll look pretty slick. If I ever do get to the point where whatever I work on is earning me, like, 6 or 7 digits or whatever, I will absolutely be the person who will, like, order a pizza and then tip the Domino's person, like, $50 or something. Also, there was somebody I remember talking to that worked at a place where, like, when you got a tip, instead of, you know, just pocketing the tip like you normally would, they would, like, make everybody put the tips in a, like, collection jar or box or bowl or whatever. I don't remember exactly what the person said to me when they were telling me about it. But basically, you had to take all the tips everybody got from the whole day at the end of the day, put them together, and then it was split evenly among everybody. And I'm like, bro, I get what you're going for. But no. May I introduce you to the Church of Dad Puns? Forgive me, sin, for I have father. Only there was an easier thing they could do to make the payment fair. There's not. Most of you probably know this, but just in case you don't, here's a fun fact. In America, it's legal to have service workers be paid less than minimum wage per hour if they have a job where they can accept tips. It fucks me up because so many companies could literally, like, revolutionize their workers' lives for the better if the CEOs would just take a couple million less in bonuses. I'm not talking about, like, axe their bonus altogether. If they only got half of it, they could, like, double most of the regular workers' pay. And it would probably cost them less than giving the CEO that bonus. Wonder why it's only really a thing in America. Oh well, probably nothing to ruminate about or uprise over. You see, the problem is, in America, a lot of early regulations were not specified on paper or enforced because a lot of early company stuff was basically founded on the bro code. Where, like, well, that's stupid. Nobody would be that evil or idiotic. But since it wasn't really a rule, companies would just do shit. So a lot of regulations are written in blood. And whenever you see a regulation that's like, yeah, that's obvious. Nobody would do something that stupid. I'm turning my head to the camera that doesn't exist and raising one eyebrow.
I feel like companies have wasted more money trying to find ways not to pay people than they would have if they just paid people more money. Absolutely, actually. But the problem is that most of these people run these companies have no real-life experience, knowledge, or planning ability. They're not capable of doing anything. They're just born with money and have money. And the thing is, most of these people would rather have $100 right now, this very second, than have $1,000 2 days from now. No one could possibly be that cartoonishly evil. It would be obvious it would be illegible. No, that's the thing is, like, there are people like that where, like, if you wrote something for, like, a writing class and you wrote a villain like that, the teacher would be like, okay, that's cartoony. No one would actually be like that. You know, honestly, I just want to live in a future where stories like Final Fantasy VII and Half-Life 2 are considered quaint and silly instead of continuing to be relevant. I think some teachers now just solemnly nod their head. Wants the teacher to be the gesture vaguely at the current. Well, again, I'm not saying right now. I guess I'm more thinking back when I was in school and stuff like that, you know. In the 2000s and all that stuff, back when we had our iMacs. Because that's my other unpopular thing, is like I actually don't necessarily dislike Apple's hardware. I just dislike Apple the company. And like how they handle their software and user. It's like they make great UIs, but the user experience is so restrictive, and basically every like bullshit thing in the anti-consumer thing in the tech industry is something they pioneered. You know, things like removing the headphone jack, trying to use proprietary chargers on everything. Which, thank you, Europe, by the way. Non-sarcastically, thank you, Europe, for vetoing that shit. And, you know, shit like trying to design their hardware to not be repairable by anybody except a paid tech expert that they license. I mean, shit. Does anybody remember when phones had removable batteries? Did anybody but me, like, always keep a second battery for their phone charged and have it in, like, their purse or their pocket? So if their phone ran low and they didn't have a charger with them, they just pop their battery out and pop in a new one? Another fun thing about America is that if you have a hospital or medical bill and make less than a certain amount, you legally don't have to pay that bill. Oh, also, that does remind me of something which is probably, like, the legitimately peak funniest thing I've ever done in my life, and I will never top. So, it was, like, basically the last day of high school for me and most of the people I went to school with. We'd already finished our test. We were just kind of, like, waiting for our rides to arrive in a little, like, hangout area. And one of the people... I would say he, but I'll get to that in a minute. But one of the people were like, you know, they had a CD player, and they were just like listening to their music, and the battery died. And there's somebody I knew I was kind of like acquaintance friends-ish with. We like talked about games and stuff, but we weren't like super duper close. But they walked up to me and like. For context, I had brought in my GBA with me, and I didn't have the SP yet, so I was still playing the one without the backlight and stuff, the original model GBA. And, you know, they walk up to me and they're like, hey, you wouldn't have to have AA batteries on you. And I look at them and I'm like, yeah, I just so happen to keep 2 AA batteries in my pocket just in case this situation happens. Then I reach into my pocket, pull out 2 fresh AA batteries and hand it to them. And literally everybody around us busts out laughing. And they, like, double over, like, with their head in their hand laughing at the situation. And I'm like, I will never be funnier than that at any point in my life. I wanted to share it with you guys. And also, the person I was talking to who had the CD player, they're a trans woman now. Sure, you'll find a way. It'll be hard, though. Enter the batteries of woke. Those batteries I transferred. See, that's why they became trans. I transferred the energy. You don't get moments like that anymore. Infected them with the trans. Even double A's in multiple ways. Ayo. The thing that all right-wingers fear will happen. I mean, we had to do it the old-fashioned way back then because we didn't have 5G network towers. Okay, so Grimer evolves at 38. I'm not that far away. But no, it's funny that, like, because when I met them years later, I met her years later, it was so funny because, like, there's one specific instance that I remember thinking of, because, like, there was another friend we hung out with, like, we were all into, like, games and anime and stuff like that, and, you know, she got up and went to the bathroom, and she's like, hey, guys, I'll be back in a sec, I gotta pee. And, you know, like, me and them were just talking, and they're all like, I wonder what it's like to go to the bathroom without a penis. And, like, the minute that, you know, and there were other little things that they said every now and then. And, you know, I'm just like, when I finally met them again, like, years and years later, and she was trans and stuff, and I'm all like, you know, just the Kronk turning to the camera, oh yeah, it's all coming together. Questions on the mind of the American people. And for context, they weren't like a particularly like horny person or anything. Like, they weren't a prude either. They just like weren't the kind of person to crack a sex joke or talk about dicks or anything like that. So.
You said you want to find out and then have to leave. Oh wait, shit, I went to the wrong spot. Like, keep in mind, at this time, the idea of, like, even being trans seemed like... something that existed in a far-off fantasy or something like that. Which is weird, because a lot of, like, sitcoms and stuff that I remember watching in, like, the 90s and early 2000s, whenever there'd be a trans person, well, first of all, it was almost always a trans woman, but, like, when they'd have, like, the token trans character episode, it would always be, like, the insecure main guy finding his former school friend who he knew as a guy suddenly incredibly hot and attractive, and, like, the trans women in those shows were, like, almost always portrayed as being, like, attractive and desirable, and I'm like, there's a lot of, like, interesting, it was probably more done for humorous effect, but it still had, like, a positive spin on it, which I thought was very definitely ahead of the time. And it just sucks, like, I've mentioned this before on stream, but how much things just plummeted backwards in the late 2000s when being angry and hateful just kind of became a norm for a little while culturally. Thinking of the realization, it's like, oh, it's definitely a script.
Mots, good evening. It's me, Gavin. How you doing? My Flareon might be greater than I imagined. I doubt I'll see a Flareon that's better than mine. Oh, and I managed to barely defeat Raticate the other day. I've never seen a Raticate get that strong. You shouldn't let your guard down, even against a Pokemon you're used to seeing. Okay, I'll be back to you soon.
How can I was 4 or 5? I dressed like a woman and act feminine and no one ever saw it coming to me. Very mysterious. How did that happen? I still have a pretty distinct memory of being... I could not have been older than 5. I think I was like 4. And I don't exactly remember what possessed me to do this. But I decided to go ahead and get, like, professionally dressed. Which, to myself at that age, at that point, was to put on heels, a skirt, a blouse. These are all moms, so they did not fit me whatsoever. And then put on makeup. And it was so funny because when I finally came out to Mom, she specifically remembered that instance. And she's like, that had kind of stuck with me for a little while. Because the thing is, like, I didn't say, you know, Mom asked me what did I say. I didn't say I was dressing like a girl. I said I was dressing like to go to work. Like she does. And Mom's like, okay. It's so weird, you know, thinking about, like, interacting with your parents and stuff like that, because, like, everything that's happened in the entirety of my existence is just stuff that happened when Mom was an adult. And it's so weird that I went from, like, 0 to being an entire person with a history and all that thing in the time that she's just been, like, her adult self. It's just one of those weird things to think about, I feel. See here, I think I only really had signs that I myself would have / did notice. It's only after starting to go through therapy and a lot of self-reflecting. Time for the big company meeting. On today's agenda, gay, homosexual, gay. Like, ah yes, the gay agenda. I'm going to order a pizza, even though I'm on a diet, and then play Animal Crossing New Leaf Welcome Amiibo Edition on my new Nintendo 3DS XL. Also, fun fact, the Welcome Amiibo update for Animal Crossing New Leaf, excuse me, is the most recent release of a Panel de Pon / Tetris Attack game. That isn't like a remaster or a port or something. After what I did, there was only a few signs here and there. There were huge, gigantic signs, to be fair. It was like, stay alive and destroy capitalism. One of those things to moderate effect. I mean, we're destroying capitalism just by doing what we're doing right now. I know that may sound weird. I'm sitting here playing a video game and talking into a microphone and you guys are watching me play a video game. But just by openly being ourselves out here in a public forum, we're already destabilizing the people who want to oppress us. Because I can do something so relaxed and so casual as playing an old video game. That proves that I'm not afraid. And those who rule through fear are those who do so because they're incapable of ruling normally. They're those unfit to rule, so they choose fear because they feel like that's the only option. Because they are run through fear. You often like to call the oppressors cowards? Hell yeah, fuck the system. I know that there's the old, like, saying of the best revenge is living well, but no, like, that's true. It's really actually true, because, like, the best way to fight your oppressors is to continue being happy and sharing joy and enjoying who you are, because, like, then you're just showing them they have no effect on you. Gender and sexuality are things I didn't even think of for the longest time, so I did whatever I thought was... I did whatever and thought it was weird when people, like, thought I was weird. Took me around 11 and 20 years, respectively, to put labels on, just for ease of use. That's the thing, I mentioned this before, but, like, labels are not something that defines who you are, and you do not have to append yourself to those. It's just, like, shorthand to describe to other people without having to go through your entire history. It's like, labels aren't a law you have to live by, they're just the cliff notes of your existence. And also, like, you know, a piece of fabric doesn't have a gender. A color doesn't have a gender. It's all made up. Because I've mentioned before that I used to work at a place that sold, like, electronics and video games and phones and stuff, so a lot of times I would help people find their phone cases. And some guy in a camouflage hat and a tank top and torn up jeans and stuff was in there, and he was like, well, I need an OtterBox for my such and such iPhone, and I'm like, oh, well, you know, I think we only have, like, pink and purple in stock, because it was, like, the day before a truck was going to get there. He's like, well, I can't get either of those. And I'm like, why? Are they outside your price range? And he's like, well, no, look at the color. And I'm like, colors don't have a gender, dude. If someone's making fun of you for the color of your phone case, they're insecure, not you. I didn't actually say that. I was just like, well, we'll probably get some more in a couple days. Still don't consider those aspects about a person. I'm sure that's the autism's doing, but I think it's cool to be like that. Yeah, I think so too. So something's been doing a lot more recently. I started noticing I'm depression spiraling. I'll either just take a shower or put on my favorite outfit. That does help a lot. Showers help too, because, like, I know it's just physical, but it also feels like it rinses away, like... Like it refreshes you in your brain, too. At least it does that for me. I mean, your mind is still a physical thing directly in contact to your body, which is also physical. Yeah, I think that's another thing it's really easy to forget, especially with a lot of media. Especially media that I feel like is aimed toward younger people. Like, a lot of times, your soul or your brain or whatever will be detached from the physical body, like they're separate things. Like the brain's like a cartridge and the freaking body is like a game console or something. Taking care of your body simultaneously takes care of your mind to an extent. Yeah, and I think people also forget that your mind is something that physically exists and it can get tired. Like, your brain can really just actually get tired. And I feel like that's something a lot of autistic and ADHD people especially fall into, because I can't just manually shut my brain off. I mean, I was shocked when I learned, and this wasn't that long ago that I learned this, I was shocked when I learned that a lot of neurotypical people can just literally just clear their mind, just not think about anything on command. And I'm like, that's literally a fucking thing people can do? What? I don't realize just how much rest the human body and mind need. It's true.
Because weirdly enough, even though like I do try to staunchly be anti-doom scrolling and try to stop myself when I get into it, which I do still fall into it because I'm not perfect. I do feel like a little bit of brainless scrolling is good for you, because it's like your brain gets to like put its feet in like a hot soak or something for a little while and not have to do anything. Fucking train myself to stop thinking. Yeah, I try, but it doesn't ever really work that well. Like, I can stop thinking about something, but then just something else pops into my brain. It's gonna be beef jerky by the time I'm 40. Welcome to the club. On the bright side, I feel like people who are way too much Thinkatron type people generally tend to be at much less risk of stuff like Alzheimer's. Because I do wonder if like people's brains actually do get out of shape from not thinking enough. Need to get back to meditating and exercising. I fell off those and we had a pipe burst and I really want to get back to it. I need to get back into a lot of my martial arts stuff that I grew up with, because my mom tried to teach me meditation because she also had a brain that would never stop. But it's just one of those things where, like, I fell out of almost every healthy habit I have when mom's health took a turn, because, for obvious reasons. And I need to get myself back into it. Definitely cannot do the stop thinking thing. Well, to be fair, 7th, and once again, I mean this in the most loving way, I feel like somebody who made an over an hour-long video about the history of Morrigan in Capcom games is probably not the most completely neuronormative person. Compliment affectionate. Seem to music sort of like my brain bake. Bleh, I can't. Or like my brain break, are the equivalent of sitting down and untangling a messy yarn basket. I really want to get into martial arts. Did like a single class of Taekwondo. It's part of a promo thing, just never ended up following through. I really like being in nature, that's my true brain break, but we do not have anything naturey around me. At least not that you can reach on foot. Yeah, I understand that. I'm lucky that, like I said, I've mentioned this before, but I live in like the farthest point in the driveway in my neighborhood. So my backyard is pretty much woods. And like, there's not another house for probably a couple miles in any direction from my house. Well, most definitely not neurotypical, kinda figured. So I'm lucky that when the weather's nice, I can just go outside and enjoy being in the woods. Also, part of my area near where I live, that's like, in one of the directions, is just like a field that gets rented out for some farming people that are like in a town over. You know, like extra field to rotate like the cows and stuff. So occasionally I have moo cows or other stuff hanging out that I can say hi to. You need to start taking walks again when spring comes back. Absolutely, I miss going on nice long walks. It's pretty much just a bastion of suburban houses with the reward being flat farmland, not the cool kind, just flat fields of dirt, yeah. Like I said, there really isn't much in the way of farmlands near me. There's just forest. I remember being a kid, I would always go outside and I would think about what kind of Pokemon would live near me if I was living in the same house, but like in the Pokemon world. I'd imagine like Venomoths flying through the trees and like Rattata and stuff like that, just kind of like burrowing around. You see, one of the funnest parts about getting through high school and college and all that social shit and being on your own is like you realize, not necessarily 100% on your own, but you know, being an adult and stuff, you realize that like you can still just sit outside and imagine stuff like that and it doesn't hurt anybody and nobody can stop you. Skwovet for me, just thousands of them. They're very, very after all your berries. I have become a pretty big Skwovet fan over the years. Galar had some good little funky fellas. Like Skwovet and Nickit and stuff like that. Also, I mentioned having that robe over my legs. I've angled myself to where, like, the heat from the little space heater is blowing into the robe and my legs are very warm.
Do not flinch, my grime. Lay it up in my apartment, my feet are still cold. Oh, that sucks, dude. No, my toesies were frozy until I found this little space heater. Did they ever fix the heat in your apartment? I remember you saying they turned, like, the overall heat off or something like that. A bunch of oak trees around half an hour away on foot, but none around my road. So I go there to collect acorns for us squirrels, but I've seen 0 acorns over the past few years, and I skipped out doing that walk this year because that and depression, yeah. Pipes froze over. Damn, that sucks so hard. Like I said, I'm glad it wasn't something they did deliberately, but that still really sucks. I know that Kubi mentioned on Blue Sky that, like, she couldn't use her washing machine or, I think, one of her, like, her kitchen sink because, like, the piping for that water froze over. Good evening, Mots. It's me, Wade. Were you awake? The bug catching contest is on at the National Park today. Are you going, Mots? I'm trying to make up my mind. See you later. Really need to do that walk this year. I kind of regret it, but it's nothing I can still do just because. Yeah. Like I said, I feel like we're all, like, just sitting here waiting for it to be spring already. I've had enough winter weather. You see, when I say I like cooler weather better than hot weather, what I mean is I like for the weather to be between 55 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Fine with winter. Okay. First of all, I don't like being cold. Second of all, I don't have central heat. And third of all, I don't really like the snow. Like, I like winter in the context of, like, being warm and toasty and having central heat and being able to, like, sip a cup of hot chocolate. Like a month of it left, I know. Been sick for 2 collective weeks and I haven't been able to enjoy it yet. I know, I'm sorry, Maddie. But don't boo me, I'm right. I don't like hot weather, and I don't like cold weather, and I don't like pollen, so the only good season is fall, and it's always too short. Fall really is the only good season, yeah. I mean, I actually do like spring a good bit, but pollen hell is still pollen hell. It's the one downside to living in a pretty naturey area. Allergies sometimes hit and sometimes don't. I hope they don't have enough mucus for a long time. We give it like end of September, October, start of November for fall. You know, see, that's the thing that fucking sucks, because around where I live this year, it was still like 80, 90 degrees into October. We got 3 weeks of fall. And then in November it started being really fucking cold. You know, aside from it spiking to being like 70 degrees for a couple days in December, which I'm like, why? I mean, I wasn't complaining, I got to be comfortable in December, but climate do be changing. Like, I am so jealous of so many places in Europe where, like, the temperature tops out at, like, maybe 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but it really doesn't get cold enough to snow very often in a lot of places, so it's just like, Because summers being, like, 80 to 82 degrees, like, that I can tolerate. Because that's the thing is, like, there was that horrible heat wave that hit Europe a couple years ago, and, like, nobody could do anything because nobody had air conditioning, because you never needed air conditioning. The only place I could go to get air conditioning was in a mall. What do we need somewhere where it doesn't get hotter than, like, 60 or 70? Sorry. Let's snow, but I couldn't live somewhere that doesn't snow for at least a month and a half. Incredibly jealous of the literal rest of the world transitioning to renewable energy sources.
Now, instead, America is transitioning to putting massive server farms to, power pointless AI and literally sending the country into a record-setting water deficit. America is transitioning in all forms, apparently. Annual Fireball! It's like, you don't need 5,000 computers to make yourself a big titty elf waifu. I can do that with a piece of paper and a ballpoint pen. Gonna shoot to evolve fun and dip. Yeah, I'm trying to. It's 38, so he's not that far away. Also, I'm not ending the stream or anything, but it really does make me happy that you guys just like to come and sit and watch me just grind on stream while we chat. Which, like, I know I could probably do all of this off stream and be like, okay, let's go fight Red. But, like, okay, to me, I feel like one of the reasons that a lot of people have a less positive opinion of the Johto games in general, like talking to you, yay, because I love talking to you guys. I almost didn't stream today because I'm a little out of it and I've slept a lot. So I kind of almost didn't stream, but I'm glad I did because I miss you guys, and it's been. I wanted to stream Thursday, but I was feeling really tired and just bleh. It's cozy, yay! That's my goal. But okay, the thing is, like, Pokemon, the Johto games, are more structured like something along the lines of Animal Crossing, where you're meant to come in and play a little bit every day and do a little bit more every day.
I'm sleeping constantly, always been tired as well. Yeah, everybody grab your sugar-free, caffeine-free beverage of choice. Got my water tumbler right here. That's a good sippy. Everybody take a big sippy. Probably have a vitamin D deficiency or something. Girl, you need a shot of B12. I know you do. No, but you probably, like, Rain, I know you don't want to hear this, but you probably need to go outside and actually, like, have sunlight touch your skin. Maybe you need to feel the rain on your skin. No one else, let your book begin. To South get vitamin D gummies, I guess that would work too. If someone has vitamin D deficiency in the current climate, literally there's something wrong.
I mean, I admit, I need to take out the trash to my little, like, Trashomatron outside. That's not a Trashomatron, it's just a regular little rolling thing with a handle that I put my trash in. But, like, I need to take some trash out, but it's just, like, I have not been outside today. I opened the door, and, I just saw all the snow all over everything, and I'm just like, no. I just shut the door again. Just like, no. It is too cold to go outside. Need to remember that I am a plant and need sunlight as well as water. It's true. You do get plenty of water. You are the rain that hydrates us. It's been freezing here since the storm last week. The snow's barely melting. It's so bizarre because, like, they need to make drinkable sunlight. It's called Sunny D, Maddie. It's so bizarre because, like, you guys remember I was, like, snowed in last weekend. Well, it was more like iced over than snow. So it was kind of like freezing rain, but it was still cold and there were shitty icy rows. And then, like, yesterday, because I went to work yesterday, it was, like, perfectly fine. It was a little chilly, but it was, like, I think it got up to, like, 40-something degrees. You know, like 45, 50 degrees, somewhere in that range. And then, like, woke up this morning, and it's just, like, blanket of snow everywhere. And the high today is, like, 26, and I think the low is, like, 19, and I'm like, man, fuck this shit. See, Rain, we got that trans girl synchronization. Does it make you feel warm, though? Alcoholic Sunny D when I'm sure it's been done. Also, alcohol doesn't technically make you warm. It constrains the blood vessels. And you just need a combination of Flamin' Hot Doritos and Sunny D. Get that hot D inside you. Constrain your blood vessels. Oh. Okay. You know, okay, I've mentioned this before, but I have very sensitive taste buds. So a lot of food I eat ends up being kind of blandish to most people. Not in a no spices, no flavors kind of way, just like, for example, I actually do consider, like, pasta with butter and salt to be an enriching flavor experience. But I also, despite my taste buds being very sensitive, I really like spicy food. Buttered noodles go hard. Okay, I'm glad I'm not alone on this. Because about 30 minutes before the stream, I made myself, like, a half a pot of rigatoni. And I just had, like, some butter and salt, and it was hot, and it was really yummy, and I was just like, damn, that was some good-ass rigatoni. It's like, it's one of those things where, like, you ever finish a meal, and you want a little bit more, but you don't actually want to eat anything else because, like, you just kind of want to let the flavor just, like, be there for a little while. Trans girls love spicy food. What is it? What is, like, the shared trans girl brain cell? You see, the thing is, like, though, I love, they're just called spicy nacho Doritos. Because there's, like, the 3 levels of Dorito. There's, like, the regular nacho, which is still good. There's the spicy nacho, and then there's the Flamin' Hot. But the thing is, I don't like the Flamin' Hot, but it's not because it's too spicy, but rather because, like, there's so much spice on it that it blows out the flavor palette, and I can't taste the rest of it. It just tastes like nothing. Barbecue or spicy chips. Now, one of my favorite things, like I said, it's, one of my favorite things is, like, having a bagel with chunky Peter Pan honey roast peanut butter with, like, some spicy Doritos on the side. It's just like, So I think I'm just a pseudo-clone. We're the les enfants terribles of trans women. The thing is, like, I got 100% of the horror ratio and you got 0 of it. I'm so sorry. Love a chunky pan. I mean, real. It sucks because, like, I have this running issue, and I think I've mentioned this on Steam before. It's hard for me to find foods that the texture and flavor don't make me want to vomit. So when I actually find a food I really love, it's rare, and then it gets discontinued. And it makes me so upset. Because my favorite peanut butter of all time was the crunchy Peter Pan honey roast. And like about 8 or 9 years ago, no place carries it anymore. I don't think it's even produced. They still produce crunchy Peter Pan regular, but they don't produce like the honey roast crunchy anymore. Because I'd buy like huge jars of it because I put it on like bagels, on crackers. So I started just buying the regular, like creamy honey roast Peter Pan. And earlier this year, no place I go to sells the honey roast Peter Pan at all anymore. That was like my favorite peanut butter. I'm like, why? They still have regular Peter Pan. They didn't stop carrying the brand. Just the flavor that I like. And no place that I know of anymore around me has Cherry Zero 7-Up anymore. Which is my favorite soda. I wonder if there's some kind of issue with 7-Up distribution, because, like, most places that I go to now don't even carry any special versions of 7-Up. They literally only have regular. Cursed have capitalism destroy your favorite. Apparently. Because, like, I had this yogurt that I really loved, because I started eating yogurt because I wanted to have, like, better food options around the house for myself. And you would think yogurt would be, like, texture poison to a neurodetergent, but no, I ended up really liking it. But there's a specific strawberry fruit on the bottom Greek yogurt that came with cinnamon sugar granola. And oh my god, it was so amazing. I would like buy like 2 or 3 4-packs at a time and just take them to work with me every day and have it with my lunch at work. And it was just like, it was so good. It was enriching. It just, of course, it got discontinued 2 months after I started eating it. Let me see 7-Up or Cherry 7-Up. What's the thing is, like, okay, the stores around me used to have, they'd have regular 7-Up, Cherry 7-Up, 7-Up Zero, and Cherry 7-Up Zero, and 1 or 2 little experimental flavors every now and then. Now they literally only have basic 7-Up, as far as 2-liter bottles go. And they don't even have the Cherry 7-Up in cans anymore. Zero's for zero sugar, right? No, there's not. Okay, here's the thing. With my taste buds, even if I dilute the sugar out, I can still taste that it was there at one point. That's why I could never be one of those people who's like every time I'd go somewhere and everyone would get pizza, it would always be pepperoni, and I'm like, I don't eat any red meat. And they're always like, well, just take the pepperonis off. And I'm like, it still tastes like pepperoni. Who do you call when you want some pepperoni? Samurai Pizza Cats. They're so bad. Got more fur than any turtle ever had. Oh my gosh, that's right. There's that new Samurai Pizza Cats freaking Metroidvania coming out. I'm so excited. I love Samurai Pizza Cats, you guys. It's one of those things I don't ever get to talk about because it hasn't been relevant for like 25 years or something. No shit, 25 years ago was 2001. Oh my fucking god, it's like 30. I think it's a Metroidvania. I'm not 100% sure. I've only seen the 2 trailers. It's either a Metroidvania or it's got like some RPG elements. Not averse to red meat, but I only eat it on pretty rare occasions. I can't stand the taste, the texture, anything. That and this is one of the most like neurodivergent things of all time. If I eat red meat or if I eat something with a bone in it, I start getting flashbacks to the living animal. I don't know if I have some kind of psychic spiritual powers. Then again, my mom was a pretty witchy kind of person and always had incense and candles and all that stuff, so if that's genetic, I guess I got it. Though my mom was definitely had no compunctions about eating red meat. She would love a big old steak or something like that. She loved McDonald's hamburgers. We have 7-Up Cherry Zero at Walmart. Must be something up in your area. Damn it. So I'm thinking about burgers now. I want to fuck up a turkey burger. And then just fall asleep, because that's what turkey do. Well, I'm glad 7-Up Zero's not discontinued at least. But man, I just want to just giving myself an up. I'm cute. I should get what I want. Pout. But no, the crazy thing, I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for the Samurai Pizza Cats game, but it's so wild because like they did a new cell animated like couple minutes of footage from the original like 90s anime. And at first I thought it was just like reused footage that they had dubbed over. And then like the villain character who's giving his whole speech about the Pizza Cats being back, the big cheese, starts yelling at his subordinate, and he grabs the black bars on the side of the screen and pushes them over a little bit. Because the whole thing is presented like it was in 4:3, and he like grabs the black bars on the edges of the screen and pushes them to the side a little bit. I'm like, what the fuck? And I found out that one of the original a few of the original animator staff that worked on this show got like original cell animation tools and just made some new footage. Like they filmed it with like a lot of the same equipment or slightly upgraded versions of the same equipment from like the 2000s. But yeah, they just did like new cell animated footage because they wanted to for the game to promote it. So I can order the peanut butter online. I actually still have a jar of the peanut butter, so I can scan the label and hopefully get it delivered. You know, scan the UPC code. Magic historically gendered. If you have experience with both genders, your magic can be much more powerful. So technically, trans people are more magically powerful. I mean, you can see that on a lot of old like statues and stuff like that. They'll have the goat that's got the boobs, and they also have the wee-wee and everything. I don't know why I said wee-wee for that when I flat out said penis and dick and stuff on the stream like at least 4 or 5 times. But yeah, I love when they mess with aspect ratios. Well, the thing is, like I said, especially because like in my head, I'm like, oh, they're just dubbing over old footage. And until he grabs the aspect ratio and I'm like, what the fuck? Like the joyful laugh. Gotta keep it PG when we're talking about dicks. Also, really fun thing, Baphomet, the human god. The fusion of Gazelle, the mythic, it fuses with Gazelle, the mythical beast, to become Chimera, the flying mythical beast. I don't know why, but, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, English language censorship, censoring Baphomet to be Burphomet. It's like, that's such a non-censor. Who do you think you're fooling? Because they didn't edit its design or anything. The Baphomet's a trans god. Now, that do explain a lot.
Also, I had at the time and still have a Yu-Gi-Oh! DVD. Well, I mean, I guess if you've never heard of Baphomet or never looked into it, but yeah, Burphomet is just Baphomet in the Japanese version. Though, what I was saying is, like, I have the DVD that has the episode of like, well, it has like the collection of episodes where Yugi fights the Rare Hunter, which is where it shows off like the Battle City rule set and a lot of the new cards. So I've watched it to death, and the way that Dan Green says, you know, I'll summon the all-powerful Burfomet, and which lets me get Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts. Like, that's so permanently ingrained into my head. But I do remember watching it for the first time on Kids WB and thinking the monster's name was Purpleness. Like, the color purple, and I'm like, that's not even purple. Just because, like, he enunciated it, the way he enunciated it and said it really fast. Baphomet just never made the connection. I guess 4Kids successfully succeeded. There's all the gods represent a flat chest and a Vegene. That's my offensive. I know Vegene's pretty darn funny, typo or not. The point of Baphomet is they're meant to be a representation of everything a human can be.
Fun Dip Evolution. Finger wiggle.
That post right there, officer.
A Big Dipper. Okay, but 7th, like, I also feel like when you have something in your head, like, okay, something you encounter when you're younger, and you don't really have that much, like, cultural experience or knowledge or whatever, it's just, like, it's been a part of your life for so long, you never make those connections later, because you're like, oh yeah, that's just Burfomet from Yu-Gi-Oh! So you don't even have it in your head as, like, any relation to the other entity, even if you do know about Baphomet. It's like, I remember, you know, being a teen and stuff and realizing that, Ifrit and Shiva and Ramu and all that stuff weren't made up by Squaresoft for Final Fantasy. They were actually, like, mythology. Flat chest and V.A. Gina is how I want to be. My president, my president. I knew of Baphomet as a kid, though. Another Konami thing. There's another Konami thing. Oh, yeah, duh. Did it involve castles and wits? No, wait, that's making it sound a little different than I meant it. Not that I would object. Okay, calm down. Also, this reminds me of a dream that I had. Like, unfortunately, a lot of my dreams can be incredibly mundane. Sometimes hilariously. But I had a dream many years ago, and I told Maddie about it, that we had a friend named Gina, like spelled G-I-N-A, who was actually becoming a professional voice actor. And we were, like, really proud of her, and she wanted to change her Twitter handle to, like, V.A. Gina. Because I'm like, no, don't do it. Maddie and I were, like, trying to convince her not to, and she couldn't see the problem with it. CV3's final boss. Playing at a friend's house, overly religious aunt, playing devil worshipping stuff. Like, sometimes I feel like my mundane dreams are just me seeing what, like, other universe Mikaeas are doing, so I hope Gina's doing okay with her voice acting stuff in that universe. Like I said before, there's nothing wrong with, like, taking religion and stuff seriously. But it's always been weird to me, people who, like, will accuse random, like, pieces of media, like, converting children to devil worship or something, and I'm like... It's, like, so detached from reality, but it's, like... It's funny because most people I know who engage with media the most tend to be the most level-headed and like, oh yeah, it's just a story. It's not real. Cool, weird. Zero. Dreams tend to just bleed from one subject to the next. At times it seems seamless, but I try to think back on it. She's like, hold up, what the fuck? My mom's still doing that when she heard from K-pop demon hunters. I mean, they're killing demons. Shouldn't a religious person like that? Few friends that couldn't play Pokemon at the height of Gen 1. Yeah, I remember that, and I'm just like... Pokemon is like... Oh, look, it's a fun, cute virtual pet buddy. It's like, I understand it a little bit over Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Does go into a lot of pagan mythology for its card sources. You assume she thought even one layer deep. You know what? That's fair. D&D also having a satanic panic. Well, it's so funny because most media like that they object to is about slaying the demons. It's like, I guess it's in the same issue we have with a lot of stuff now, where people assume that like just portraying that something exists means you're condoning and supporting it. I did too, which... Honestly, it just was a thing that happened a lot. You gotta keep in mind, remember, Maddie, how I said that the 90s were much more progressive and forward-thinking? But the thing is, like, that had a lot of backlash from a lot of religious types. Because a lot of people still were from a different time when being forward-thinking and, you know, progressive were not qualities that they had. So a lot of people felt threatened. And a lot of religious wackies kind of like... I'm not even sure. Like, it's hard for me to understand, but I think that a lot of people who are a little too wacky with religious stuff, like anything that was taking people's focus away from, like, going to church and Jesus and all that stuff was considered, like, terrible. Change, we can't have that. It has to be bad. I know, I mean, like, it's the same thing, you know, oh, their rock and roll music is evil, their Dungeons and Dragons game is evil, their TV shows are evil, their movies are evil, the video games are evil, the smartphones are evil. And then, like, 10 years later, that thing will just be normally ingrained into their life.
I want to check something at Sunkern real quick, because there's a specific level I think I want to get Sunkern to, but... Swear to God, if I have to remember I have kids. Kids are supposed to sit down and stare into the far distance reading the Bible, back to front. Sunkern. I actually really like Sunkern and Sunflora. Back to front, Bible, manga. Okay, so I remember, because, like, fun random thing, I was doing before right before I started streaming, I was actually playing a playthrough of Pokemon Crystal on my phone. Basically, it's something to do besides doom scrolling on my breaks at work, though it's kind of been replaced by, playing this one with you guys. I'll probably go back to the save file someday, but I did actually get far enough in there to, like, get to Goldenrod City and get to the breeding center and everything. And, I ended up breeding a Sunkern so I could get it to level 10, because Sunkern learns Mega Drain at level 10 and Sunflora learns Razor Leaf at level 10, and I wanted both of those. The other option is getting Giga Drain as a Sunkern at level 46. I'm not really that worried about getting, like, Synthesis or anything. Bible manga, Mikea manga, if the $20 bill was one of those fake out dollars. I probably still would have bought Resident Evil 4. I would have taken the fact that I found even the idea of a $20 as the sign. Also, a completely random thing, like, this isn't a deal breaker for game, but me thinking about Resident Evil made me think about it, is that, like, generally something I feel like I have a distaste for in video games is using realistic weapons to hurt other human beings. Like, I'm not talking about in, like, an RPG where, like, you slash at another person with a sword and they take, like, 112 damage and something like that with no visible damage. I'm talking about, like, shooting games where you're, like, gunning down other humans. Because, like, even in Uncharted, as PG-13ified as that game is, I wasn't very fond of it. I'd say the shooting sections are probably my least favorite part of the games. But I have noticed, at least in the ones I have played, that in the Resident Evil games, you as a player almost never do any kind of permanent damage gun violence to any other actual human. Because even though you have the Los Ganados in 4, you know, like, you can tell whenever they get defeated that they're very much not humans. And, you know, the zombies are so far gone that they're not even really remotely recognizable as something humanoid, if that makes sense. Like, especially in pop culture, zombies have just kind of become their own species. Like goblins or orcs or something. Thing is, if I go for a Sunflora after level 10, the only grass moves it's gonna get are gonna be Petal Dance and Solar Beam. Either of which I'm super fond of, honestly. Maybe I'll just breed a Sunkern in this one too and level them up to 10. My Sunkern happened to be a girl. Nope. You, a man. We'll just put him in one of Wit's chats. That'll solve the problem. Sunkern not getting egg moves? Damn, I guess not. Could be the one in a million like them. Possibly. Okay, well, Starburst, I'm sorry, but I guess you're gonna go fuck a Ditto. Because even though I'm probably not gonna use this Pokemon much for anything after now, I still have to go get it in an optimal moveset because my brain will not let me rest ever. Actually, though, I might actually decide to use stuff. Who knows? Maybe we'll train on Crystal forever. 1,000 hours of streaming Crystal. Six seasons in a movie of Pokemon Crystal. Actually, because the red fight, it'll be surreal. I'm so sorry. No. I'm enjoying what you're doing. Well, I'm glad. Then again, I feel like if you guys weren't enjoying this, you'd probably say something. I'm gonna take off here tonight. Well, I'm probably gonna end the stream in like after I drop these two off at the daycare if you want to hang out for like a couple minutes more. Because I don't really have a whole lot of awake left either, and it's already after 11 o'clock. And since I know I'm off tomorrow, then I'm like super chill, so I can kind of like ease off and maybe stay up. But I don't know. I'm losing track of what I'm saying, but let's get custard so this sunflower seed can fuck. Kind of sad since it'll be the end of the game. I mean, we can still play after red. It's just that because okay, here's the thing: if I can actually get trading to work in MGBA, then I'd like to do a 100% Gen 2 Dex. Probably gonna stay up and hyperfixate on Persona 4. Hell yeah, where are you in Persona 4 right now? I love the game so much. I don't like her being outside when I save. Doing a 100% Dex on Gen 1 is something I plan on doing, but with a really dumb additional thing. Actually sticking around. Just beat Shadow, Chie, and Rise. Oh, cool. Oh, fun. You have so much to look forward to. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I love Persona 4. I hope you've been enjoying it so far. Oh, Shadow Teddy. Okay. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We dropped everybody off. Probably do some more Crystal sometime in the future. Might stream tomorrow if I feel up to it. Heck, maybe I'll take it tomorrow and have it be a do-nothing day. I don't know yet. There are like 15,000 video games I want to play. But until then, you guys have a wonderful night. Stay warm, stay comfy. Good night, goobers. Bye. Game over, yeah.